I'm going to wait for people to come onto the live. I'll wait for everyone to come onto the live, and then let me see. I can take people. Let me see. I'll do that. Boom, 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 boom. I'm just going to tag as I go. Tag you as I go. Tag you. Oh, you can just tag people. Okay, awesome. Tag. Oh, wow. Interesting. Oh, it goes fast, too. My nigga. Is it calling them when I'm doing it, though? Okay, I can tag. No. I think I'm just tagging people. I'm tagging them. Is it going to show? I don't know what it's doing, but... Okay, hey, y'all. I'm trying to do this tag thing. I don't know how to tag people. Okay. Hey, Roxy. Hey, y'all. I'm going to just wait for some more people to get into the live. Hey, Courtney. I'm going to wait for some more people. Hey, Katrina. Okay, you said you kept refreshing the screen. Right. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, y'all. I'm going to just wait for y'all to, I'm going to let it continue to do, like, come on into the live. Hey, daughter. Hey, sweetie. Hey, Kia. Come on, y'all. Come on in the live. And, yes, it's going to be educational. I'm not going to be doing all the, but people still want to, we still want to have a conversation, but we also want to address, any trauma that people have given to other people. Trauma is not okay. It's not okay for us in this loving environment to put trauma on each other. So, come on. I'm waiting to see Andre name pop up because I just told him I was coming on. Hey, daughter. Hold on. I'm waiting for Andre's name to pop up. So I'm going to speak first, and then I'm going to allow, Andre, if you could just send a message at some point in the comment so I know that you're here, so then I'll know kind of how to move forward. But I want to start off and say that what is dangerous and is more dangerous than, is, that if an opposing position, what's more dangerous is an opposing position that may not be in alignment with your thoughts. What's more dangerous in that is the inability to state your opinion freely, right? I believe in the freedom of speech. I believe that everyone has a right to say it. I don't like a lot of shit that people say, especially the Trump campaign. We've seen them here today. But I believe in people's ability to respect their First Amendment rights and say what you want to say. We're going to agree to disagree. And somewhere within our differences lives a neutrality. It's a truth. And hopefully within there is going to be some empathy, right? And in this current climate, it's very much like the Red Scare. It's very much like the Salem witch hunts. And it scares me because there's this hunt of ideology, which is regressive. And at a time of progressive liberation, it's knocking us back, right? It's the inability to have these tough conversations, right? So one of the things that goes on, even when it comes to racism, we have a hard time having those tough conversations around racism and phobias that are so pervasive in our communities because we don't want to have them conversations, but we have to have them. And oftentimes the people that need to have them are the people that reside in those communities, right? So we'll get to that about our community, but when it deals with racism, right? We need to let white people tell other white people, listen, this shit is fucked up, right? When we have, all this homophobia that's within the black community, we need to have these pastors get up there and say it's wrong, right? We need to have black men get up there and say it's wrong. We need to have black women say transphobia is wrong because the way the movement and the mobility starts is within the place of the problem, right? Because I can talk to you till I'm blue in the face and tell you that something is wrong. But when someone that looks like you, believes like you, tells you maybe you need to change your thought process, you're open to listen. And I just watched I was about to go to an event on white women's ability to change the racial conversation, right? And how white women can change, because in all actuality, a lot of stuff that goes on with racism started with around white women, right? You look at Emmett Till, you look at how the Ku Klux Klan was founded. It was founded because of a hatred that black men might take white women, right? So again, I will say this to everyone that's coming in. I am about respecting freedom of speech. I believe that doing anything different is regressive, and that we will not be able to grow. So one of the worst things that has ever been told to any child, anybody, is the story of Adam and Eve, okay? So I'm going to first start up and say that one of the worst things that has ever happened to us, besides so many of the other things when it gets to colonialism, but that's a part of the conversation. A part of that is that westernized religion and all those thoughts. One of the worst things that ever happened is this thought process of Adam and Eve, right? It not only demonizes women, it objectifies them, and it weaponizes their sexuality, right? And it sets the stage for a binomial nomenclature that we have been taught was final, okay? So again, a lot of people are in this thought process about binomial nomenclature and that there's only male and female, where it has been discovered that that is not the case. Because you look at intersex people, and in some research, though the term hermaphrodite has been changed around, and the term hermaphrodite can be offensive, within some research that I read, there was the pseudo-hermaphroditic female, pseudo-hermaphroditic male, the hermaphrodite, there was male and female, right? There was 5 different sexes, and then you go into being intersex. Again, I want to go back to this. The idea of Adam and Eve is something that is problematic. It demonizes women. It sexualizes, it weaponizes their sexuality. And it's problematic, period. I'm sorry. Let me let the light come back on. What happened? Hold on. What just happened? Okay. So one of the biggest, hold on, y'all. I'm sorry. Something just happened to the light. Hold on. Give me 1 second. And I'm off. Andre, are you in the bottom now? Are you in the... This shit is... Okay, here we go. I'm waiting for my screen to come back up because that is the light. And y'all not going to be able to see me. So just give me 1 second. And for all those that are just tuning in, I've kept this consistent language that we are about freedom of speech in this conversation, right? We're about protecting freedom of speech. Say what you want to say. But one thing about me is about believing being respectful. You know, I am here. I've experienced so much emotional labor this week from the situation with Malik Yoba and the comments that I read that have had me in absolute disgust, that I hope that in this space with so many family and friends that we're able to at least find some comfort in each other. Even in our differences, find some comfort. Because one of the things is, like, when you have your chosen family and your blood family, right? A lot of people found their chosen family because their blood family didn't love them and accept them, or their blood family, you got to click the tag, Andre. The blood family may have accepted you around, but not really. But when you go away, they talk about you, right? So it's like, that's what happens within this LGBT community, because we have the L, the G, the B, the T, and the Q. People forget that the T can actually be the L, the G, and the B. There's this conflation with sexual orientation and gender that is kind of how the terms around gender came about, is because gender came about when some of the conversations were around sexual orientation, around like 1966. And it actually, the term gender started here where I work at Johns Hopkins. Johns Hopkins actually had the first clinic for gender dysphoria and trans operations. And that is where the term gender came from. One of the biggest issues that happens is that there's this term sex and there's the term gender, right? And people conflate the two. People don't know what's the difference, right? Because in gender, you use the term gender a lot of times in language, and also the term gender was actually, a lot of these terms are clinical. The term sex is clinical. Defining how someone is assigned at birth, it's all clinical, right? Because gender was used in research and in labs to talk about animals, right? And so it gets down to language, semantics, linguistics, understanding the meaning of what these words are, because at the end of the day, we probably agree more than we disagree, right? So I heard Andre kept saying, differentiating between, a female who was assigned female at birth, and she lived, her gender identity was consistent with her assigned sex at birth, right? And what he was also saying was that he sees a difference between trans women being that woman and being women. But we're going to get into what the definition of a woman is, right? So that we can help understand that there's more similarities in this, and that we really all agree on the same thing. That that we're really arguing about the term sex, right? Because that's what we're talking about. because sex is what is defined as the biological characteristics, right? So you have, there's this conflation again with the term gender and sex. And, okay. So in this, I will also state again, Adam and Eve has been one of the worst things to happen to us because it creates this stage for binomial nomenclature that is problematic. And what happens is we end up getting regressed, and you start thinking like, what about, remember when the world was geocentric, right? People thought that the world, that the sun went around the earth, right? And over time, as people expand their knowledge, right? When people expanded their knowledge, they realized that no, it's not. It's heliocentric, right? I mean, it's not heliocentric. I'm sorry, it's heliocentric, not geocentric, right? And so that took us to be educated. It took us to go through understanding what evolution was. You know, there was a time period where, oh, shut up, Donna. So I'm about to bring Andre on, okay? And again, I ask everyone to be respectful and, you know, please share this live, share it. We've touched on several things, and I touched on the danger in, you know, allowing the danger and the inability of one to exercise their freedom of speech, right? Okay, Andre, you know I have an iPhone, so you got an earpiece in, right?
Oh no,
Oh,
I
it
got
actually no, it's not echoing. Oh, that's crazy. No, it's
it's
not
not.
echoing, which is like really good. Wait,
Are you sure?
yeah, can everyone? Yeah, it's good because it's not echoing. Um, I want to start off and say this. I think one of the things that may have been hurtful to many people, right, is when when people get dismissed, right? So when people are people that you have loved and been around, and like they may have been writing, and you may have dismissed them, right? And also made it seem like they didn't exist, right? That their existence, there was no, you in your terms, you definitely attempted to uplift trans women, but I think that there was some mishits in that. I'm going to start off and just say this, right? There's an author, his
Yeah.
name is Butler, and they were a feminist. And a lot of my thought process when it comes to things about gender and sex come from feminist theory. And they argue that the body only appears, the body only appear, it only endures, and it only lives within the productive constraints of certain highly gendered regulatory schema, right? And that sex is no longer a bodily given on which the construct of gender is artificially imposed. It is a cultural norm and it governs materialization of the body. Let me just say this. Like the Yoruba people, there was no concept of gender. There was no before colonialism, right? Because colonialism provided power with a gender system. It was a tool for domination and fundamentally changing. Oh, damn, I lost Andre. Andre, you went out. Andre, you disappeared. Andre, you disappeared. Hold on. It disappeared. Andre, did your phone die? Hold on. Because I can't call me and she see I'm on the fucking live. Bitch, you see I'm on live. Why would you call my phone? Me. Okay. You back on? Okay, good. Perfect. So what I was saying is that,
Yeah, I kept
okay, what I
hearing
was
you, but
saying
it
is
went
that
out. Go ahead.
colonialism, right? We need to start changing,
Mm.
we need to start changing this mindset that we have, because colonialism, right, which goes back to what I said about the Adam and Eve and all that
Mm-hmm.
other stuff, and galvanizing of the church, all that shit started with colonialism and, you know, these tools of domination and fundamentally changing social relationships, which they changed amongst the indigenous people in even Yoruba tribes and so many other places. That colonialism came into place because they didn't differentiate between like body parts in those tribes.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know that there was a difference between you know, the actual parts. People just got up and did what it was and kept it pumping. What is it that? Okay, so another thing is this, because you mentioned about women, so I'm gonna let you kind of jump in real quick so I can feedback. But one of the things that you mentioned on your live that I want to respond to, you said about being able to give birth, right, and having your period and all those other things, right, which again is all inside of the biological construct, right? But women, feminist women themselves, women are somehow considered more biological, more corporal, and more natural than men. Like in this conversation, it's always about, there's always this definition around what women are opposed to like men. Like you don't hear people like telling a trans man like, oh, he's not a man. Or you don't hear people saying if a man fucks a trans man, right? But if a man has sex with a trans man, would you consider him gay?
No, because biologically, I like trans men. I could actually date a trans man. Let me finish. Let me answer. Let me finish. You asked me a question. So at the end of the day, I like masculine men. I am 100% gay. If I'm looking at a trans man that has transitioned into a trans man, I'm looking at a man. So at the end of the day, he's a trans man. So I don't see that.
No. That means you being
I
gay.
don't.
Listen to what I'm saying. A man, right?
Oh yeah, I'm
right.
gay.
So,
yeah, I'm gay. I'm 100%.
And that's my argument for people when it says when you have a trans man, right? Because we're built. Masculinity there's this primacy with masculinity, right? There's this primacy where masculinity is dominant. A lot of this existence in gender is based on power, and it's around a power dynamic. There's there was women are always, and when you look at religion, when you look at a lot of these religions that shape our thought process, they always kind of they weaponize women's sexuality, weaponize their bodies, they demonize women, right? Make them subservient and all these other things, right? So it's just like that Madonna song. Girls can wear jeans and cut their hair short because it's okay for a boy to look like a girl. But for a girl to look like a boy is degrading because you think that being a girl is degrading. Secretly, wouldn't you love to know what it feels like for a girl, right? So all those things that just makes you think for a second. I was a kid when I first heard that. And that is one of the things that changed my mind about gender and sex. One person said in an article that I read, it says, you're not born a woman, you grow into one, right? And that's kind of like this idea around like clinical terms like male and female, right? Because that's really what it is. Like those terms, male and female, are used on ID. They're used in court cases, which I can quote you cases from Scalia talking about gender. For me, I think, when the doctor assigns you at birth, right? That's the term assigned at birth, is because the doctor, based on what they know, their socialization and what they know about the biology and the genitals, right? They say you're a male. But that's been a big mistake because some people are intersex, right? Or some people have genetic differences. Like they may have XXY or XXXX, which is a superwoman. You have Klinefelter syndrome. You have all these different things. And people are not correlating that the body, right? So you have like, there's what you think of as the body, and then there's the mind.
Let me stop you for a minute. Let me stop you for 1 second. If they continue to degrade me, listen to me. If they continue, listen to me. If they continue to degrade me, it's no reason for me to sit here and tell anyone how I feel because their minds are set up. So I'm done. I'm completely done.
Out of everyone, what I ask you to do, out of respect for this forum and this conversation of substance and this dialogue, is that you don't that you don't make any negative comments. Andre, what I do tell you to do is just push your comments to the side, like, because I push mine.
No, I'm not going to push my comments to the side. That's the problem now. Everybody got to push something to the side, and no one want to sit here and show how they feel with their opinion. I am one person. My opinion is my opinion. If you don't like my opinion, I can respect that. Bitches have dragged me knowing that I don't steal a motherfucking thing for a whole month on Facebook. Did I say anything? Did I degrade anybody about it? No, I did not, because that was their opinion. And I didn't even steal nothing. But at the end of the day, my opinion on femme queens and biological women, they want to degrade me for it. This is my opinion. I'm only one person. I love femme queens. I love women. Do I feel that they on the same page? I don't. It's nothing that no one can say. I don't. That's not saying one is higher than the other. That's all I'm saying is they not on
so
the same
what you're saying
page
is, and this is where when I did the conversation with Spellman on Roland Martin, right? My classmate, who is also trans, we different we differed, right? Because they had a discuss they had a conversation around some people want their own spaces, right? Just look at me, Andre. Some people want their own spaces, right? Like Black people be wanting their own spaces, right? Women sometimes women want their own spaces. Men want their own, people want their own spaces. I am a person, at the time I was like, I'm not a person that's into separation, but I'm fine. Like, I'm not a person as a trans woman that is vying or begging to be accepted into anything that doesn't belong to anybody, like that belongs to other people. I believe in creating my own shit. So I'm not the type of girl that's gonna be like, oh, you gotta let me in this event because I'm gonna create my own shit. I don't have to come to your stuff, period. And I think that's one of the big problems within our community is that we don't want to create our own shit. I don't have a problem with your opinion at all. Your opinion is your opinion. I just think that it can be the reason that it could be problematic is if people are not understanding, if they're not understanding where you're coming from. And it's not your fault because you are culturally conditioned. We are all culturally conditioned to believe this, like I mentioned earlier, that we have due to colonialism and its pervasiveness and how it's lived throughout the diaspora. Colonialism is how we think about a lot of things that we do and did not think about them beforehand. And you are only thinking how you were probably taught and thinking in logic, right? Because you went to school and a school taught you that a girl is somebody with a pussy and a boy is somebody with a dick. That's not your fault if the school taught you that or if that's how your parents taught you. What I'm challenging
it's not only that. It's not only that. And the sad part is, I don't even know if I should give my truth. Why? Because they already belittled me, Londyn. They belittled me because I do not agree that I feel a biological woman is the same and weighs the same as a femme queen, This is what, no, let me finish. This is how they completely belittled me when I just said, I do not believe it weighs the same. I never said I do not like femme queens. I expressed that over and over, but at the end of the day, they took it, they ran with it, and they belittled me again with any words that I say. They want me to sit here, and if every femme queen feel like no one could tell the truth on anything now because they're going through something as a family. And I understand it to an extent. I don't understand it when it comes to people that you know that been behind y'all for years.
This is the thing, Audrey. I think that what hurts so many, and this is what I'm asking you to do. I'm just asking you right now at this time. You know, people are hurt, right? So when somebody's hurt, they just responded. That's just how it is, right? So what I will say is this. People are bothered, maybe.
First of all, I never called nobody a pedophile. See, this is what I'm talking about. See, then tell them to stop typing or I'm hanging up. Because I can't sit here and listen to you and listen to how they're trying to degrade me. I never called a girl a pedophile. What I said, no, I'm going to repeat what I said. What I said is it's not right for everybody to go into a woman's bathroom when some of them don't look like a woman, and then you do have pedophiles in this world that could be in. We have them in every type of scene, period. Okay, there should be reality here.
Real quick, Andre. Let me just say this, please. What happens is we have what's called a generational gap, right? You're from a different era, right? So just like how you keep saying the word femme queen, right? That term can be, we use it and it can be problematic. We need to start worrying about the language, right? And how we change the language. Because see, there's that conflation of a femme queen and butch queen. It reminds you of the two, right? And one thing that also Katrina just said that I was thinking about is also there's this thought process within community about what a woman is. Like, she not a femme, like this and that make her a femme queen. One of the things is that you have autonomy over your own body, right? And the big issue with this is about identifying, right? And understanding about what gender identity is, understanding what the social construct is. And this is why I'm going to define for you the woman part, Andre. Just listen to me. I know what you see as the difference between the two. And I'm fine with, listen, I'm fine with the differentiate, like with people, or even myself. Like, I will separate myself from a woman who has the ability to have children, right? I am a woman who does not have, I am a woman who is barren. I am a woman who does not have the ability to have children. I'm a woman who does not have ovaries. However, I am still a woman, right? So, and I'm fine with that. Like, you can have your own space and you can have a conversation about things that I can't agree with. Just like as a trans woman, I can be in a space with other trans women. We can have conversations that other cis women cannot agree with. However, I'm not going to say making one better than the other. Like, I'm not saying that you're saying it. I'm saying I'm not going to say, oh, this person's struggle is more. I'm not doing all that. There's both. We both are struggling in a patriarchal world where there's masculine primacy. Period. Right? Women are struggling because at the end of the day, there's a definition about a woman. Let me just say this to you, right? There's this complex strategical situation based on power, right? And there's this this ontological and epistemological construct set on the name and label. We are so built on names and labels. That's a problem. And for example, like being a female characterizes one as a woman, right? So female, when you look up the word female in the dictionary, it's different than when you look up the word woman, because when you look up female, it starts talking about about gametes and she has an egg that can be fertilized by a gamete, right?
Stop! I gotta stop you again. I'm not gagging at comments. I just don't want my mouth, because y'all know my mouth is a lethal weapon. So I don't want my mouth to go off. So that's why I want y'all to leave me alone on the live and respect me like I'm respecting y'all with this phone call, so we could try to get to the bottom of it.
Right, and that's what I'm asking. If y'all please, like, I mean, this is why this is how, like I just said before earlier, we are all, everybody in this live is in some way related to LGBT community, about something. So we are our own community, and if we cannot have our dialogues in our own spaces of substance and either find a point where we're gonna agree to disagree or some passion.
Londyn, this is my problem, Londyn. This is my problem right here. We all identify as human. That's one. We all identify as we all have one opinion. But you know what? They pick and they choose about their opinions and what should be good and what should not be good. Because at the end of the day, if I'm only one opinion, regardless if you do not agree with me, at the end of the day, why even worry about it? I am one opinion. Because I never disrespected any femme queen. And if y'all felt that I did, excuse me, that's
a bad word. Transgender.
I never
did. It's transgender.
You see, that's why I stay old and say what I know. Because at the end of the day, they have too many words for me. They have too many. And then every time you use one, somebody else say no, use a different.
It's a lot of stuff around language and context, right? And
so at the end of the day, this is why I stay true to who I am. At the end of the day, I don't know how to be nothing but Andre. So let me start from the beginning. One, if anybody that don't know me, because if you know me, you know I wasn't being disrespectful. So if any femme queen, because I'm used to my femme queen days, please don't take that person. If any femme queen took that person where they felt that I was attacking, I was not attacking, period. I just feel a certain way. I feel that transgenders or femme queens, as y'all would say, or sex gender, it's so many names you can use, I don't know. But at the end of the day, if y'all feel one way, it has to go completely your way or it's not right. I can never be that way. I have to say how I feel on whatever it is and keep moving. And I can understand if you agree or don't agree with it. But I never disrespected anybody. I just said how I feel. So if y'all felt that I've said something that discontinued or disread your community in some type of way, I didn't mean to at all.
As a cisgender man within this, you are a cisgender man within this, and you have a power dynamic, right? And a privilege, right? You have a privilege and you have a dynamic. And as someone who loves trans women and knows that they are dying, they're dying terribly. the concern is that language can be problematic, right? And I'm granted you have your opinion, but there has to be a willingness to listen to those who are hurt, those who a lot of people look up to you and love you. And so when they hear that you may have took away their existence, right, and where they were, it hurts. And so you have to, that's what the response is. So there's a power dynamic here. And so we have to be, again, careful with the words. Yes, there is a gender gap. Yes, there's gaps all across the board. There's social determinants.
It ain't, but I understand that, Londyn, but it ain't no words you can use. Because if I sit here and say I do not agree that women and trans and femme queens are the same exact evenly effect to you, then it's a problem. This is what
we're about to agree to disagree. You're not. I see that. Let me just define things so you can understand what's going on, right? So you can understand that women are women. And this is why. Okay, so. Okay, so a person is so you have gender and sex, and they're more like nouns and verbs, right? And so you women, okay, so because gender is political, it's political and it's socially controlled, right? And so you have something like when I just was doing a paper in class, you got what's called the World Health Organization, right? And so they define gender as a result of socially constructed ideas about behavior, about actions, roles of a particular sex performs. See, gender is describing it. So we're talking about gender. No one is arguing that women were born with some women, because not all women were born. That's the issue. The issue in this argument is that there's this idea around someone not being a woman because of body parts or the ability to produce or the ability to that their gap that they went from being. There's a disconnect between the body and the mind, right? That there's a big disconnect between the body and the mind, and that we're asking.
I'm sorry, I gotta stop you again because I'm reading the comments. First, I'm gonna go to Shady Prada. Shady Prada, you are 100% right, but that's when a phone call come in. That's when you call me and respect me, because as a man, I respect you. And we to call and talk about whatever if you feel that it's a situation. Now going down, let me go down. Kamaya, don't ever tell me to leave ballroom. I leave ballroom when I'm ready to leave ballroom. Don't sit here and tell me I need a break. To me, you need a break. So at the end of it, no, it ain't no listen. At the end of the day, if y'all want respect about what I've said, then let's talk about that. Don't talk about nothing but that. As soon as they when they start typing, I'm going to start talking. Because at the end of the day, they are being disrespectful. It don't matter how they're being disrespectful, but they are. And I didn't read nobody.
Right, so
I didn't read nobody.
One circulating argument. So let me just say this before we ever separate. One of the things that bothers some people is that they were saying, when you said the thing, like if someone goes to the bathroom and they look like an ape or whatever, they shouldn't go to the bathroom. And that is an issue, because about being transgender, right, and having gender dysphoria is not decided by where someone thinks your genitalia should be or your body parts or this part in your transition, right? Because trans bodies, it's not defined. Your identity is not defined by it's defined by self-attestation and self-assertion, right? You identify. The key word in that is how you identify. That's what gender identity is, right? So when someone asks me, what is your gender identity? This is how I answer. So there's different things. You have sex, you have gender identity, and you have gender expression, right? So I think that at the end of the day, we need to understand what the difference is and learn to.
You know what kills me? When people always say, so since I don't agree with something, because that's all it is. It's nothing, first of all, to every transgender out there and every trans man, every trans woman, period. I just did not agree. So if y'all took anything that I said and y'all thought I was belittling you in any type of way, I was not. That's all it is. I just did not agree. I'm never going to agree with that. Do I think y'all powerful? Do I believe that y'all belong here? Yes.
So you're saying,
no.
Listen, I just want to be clear. Are you, obviously we set each other up in these different filings. I just told you about the idea of binomial nomenclature, male and female, right? Your mind is so conditioned, and we all are, to think that that's the only way, because this is how it goes. When you're born, The doctor says, this is what it is. It's a girl or a boy, right? And then they don't give parents the tools when they go home to know that there is scientific research that shows that in utero, there was a wash of testosterone or lack thereof, right? That can happen way before the development of the genitals, right? So the brain and the mind is already, there's gray matter and there's white matter. So females have more white matter and males have more gray matter. And in some transgender people, it is scientifically proven in effect that they show differences in the brain. So let's just understand that, right? So I just want you to, I don't want you to be assuming that a lot of stuff is wrapped up in a biology. Because when we start talking about sex, a lot of times we talk about the sexual the social construct and the biological construct, but there's still another biological construct that people don't talk about, which is that wash in utero. I want to thank you, Andre, for coming on. I'm gonna bring Brown in the morning. I want this to be a moment where we could just have a conversation. Obviously, like I said, people are upset, people are mad, especially people that loved you and look up to you. You got the younger ones that are saying those comments to you, and this is a climate right now where they love to counsel people. It just happens. I'm not into all that. I completely agree. People should have their opinion, long as you're not hurting somebody. And I just feel like the words that you said may not be just because you were intentionally trying to hurt people, but that's how you've been shaped to think. And I'm just asking you to expand your thought process. Period. Like, expand the thought.
At the end of the day, like I said, in none of in my 32 years of ballroom, I might have spent 15 with trans women. 15
I got you, Brianna.
Living with me in all types. So at the end of the day, I didn't say anything personal to hurt anybody.
No, you did. No, you did.
And at the end of the day,
you may not directly.
Say that again.
So
yeah, that's what I meant. Directly, I did not do it on purpose. If anybody felt that I did, it had to be somebody that do not know me. Because if you knew me, you knew I did not do it on purpose. So at the end of the day, do I feel the way I feel? Yes, I do. I'm not going to change the way I feel. This is my opinion. Like, everyone has an opinion like they got an asshole. So at the end of the day, if you do not agree with my opinion, I understand.
I think that's
thank you, Londyn.
Bothering me the most. I think that there's a confusion with what you're saying. So listen, let me just wrap this up real quick. What you're not saying, you're not stratifying like women is this and this. Like I think that what you're saying, you're talking about sex. Obviously there is a differentiation when it comes to what someone's genes or that we all are different. We all have some kind of differences and we all want to be in our own sections and spaces. All right, so you're saying you don't think.
But that's what I said. I even broke it down. I said trans men, women, butch queens, and then I said femme queens. It's all different and we cannot be weighed together. So why are they trying to weigh together? Because the picture said you take out the trans and they all are women. And I said, no, we can't do that because we still have to think about our women, our birth mothers and all of that did 5,000 years and all of this.
Okay, so there's an intersectionality that bonds us, right? There's this intersectionality that people don't often bring. So within the layers of gender, under those layers of gender and everything, you start going into race and all these other things that exist within the whole idea of what gender is. People oftentimes put the gender up, but there's also so many other underlying layers and intersectionalities in it. I think for us to be progressed in our thought process, we need to accept that trans women are women because there's a conditioning that has already happened to you and to everyone else, that we have already been colonialized and we've already been conditioned. It is time to reprogram the brain, and oftentimes saying certain words and saying certain sentences and saying certain affirmations and attestations help to recalibrate the brain. Because it is oftentimes, if a trans woman identifies as a woman, and she identifies as a woman, she's went through all this stuff, she has gender dysphoria, and she's went through what she needs to do, and she's saying that she's a woman. It is important that if you respect her, that you identify her as a woman. Now, how you may view your mother and other women and what they can do, and that women, but if a trans woman is saying that she is a woman and you respect that woman, you must say that she is a woman, because that's like me. I'm telling you my name is Londyn. You keep calling me John.
First of all, I would never not say a trans woman is not a woman. that I would never say that. But if you battling and you putting both of them to be weighed the same, they not weighed the same in my eyes. That's what I was saying. That's all I was saying.
You mean walking a ball category? Like,
no, not even walking the ball. A lot of people saying basically this is where the argument comes in. You send me a picture, move trans because everybody's women. So at the end of the day, how do you define a woman that can have kids?
But what about a woman? What about my girlfriend who's born with? She has X chromosome. She don't have ovaries. She doesn't have ovaries. She has to take estrogen every day, just like a trans woman, right? And she cannot have kids. Mm-hmm. So does that make her not? So she, in all actuality.
No, that makes her with a disability. We already brought this.
What about a trans person that has? Okay, so now we got a good one right there. Now, listen to this, Andre. Now, I just told you there's this correlation between the mind and the body. Then what about the trans person who got the in utero wash of testosterone and then the genitalia developed later? There's a
They still can't have kids. They still cannot get pregnant. They still cannot bleed once a month that a whole woman can do. We will be here forever. I love trans. I'm going to let this go because I love trans women. I'm sorry that y'all feel that way. I would never, ever disrespect a trans woman, and I'm going to let that go because we're not going to get far with this, Londyn, because everybody already wants to.
So you're apologizing to them for
No, I'm apologizing because they took it the wrong way, like I was at them. I'm not at no femme queen because I love and breathe femme queen. I just feel that it's a difference between a woman and a femme queen. That's all, period. I think there's a wonderful thing that they're on this earth. I think they're different in everything. But at the end of the day, do I feel that they weigh the same as a woman, a biological woman? I don't. I could be wrong for that. Let God come down here and fix it and tell me I'm wrong. But no one can tell me that I'm wrong, and I'm not going to believe that I'm wrong until something gets in this old fucked up brain like everybody's saying I have, or
I hope that we got,
or whatever.
At the end of the day. Just got, as long as you're willing to learn and understand more and change. Because
I always was. Wait, see, this is the difference. I was always one of the people that was willing to learn. But just because I might don't learn on a phone call, or just because I might learn today, don't mean I'm not ready to learn.
It's progression. It's a start. It's a conversation. But thank you, Andre. I love you. I don't want you to have stuff anymore, trauma or triggering, because these comments can be so that much so. But I appreciate you for at least getting on it and at least trying to have this conversation. You're welcome, Bill.
All right, thank you.
Brianna, hold on. It's stuck, Brianna. Brianna. Okay, let me answer. Let me
What?
You gotta have an earpiece. It's gonna echo.
Hold on.
Okay. Hold on, y'all. Somebody said, Londyn, why are you being so nice? I didn't know what, was I supposed to do? Start attacking him? Like, I'm confused. I'm not, that's not my personality, Jessica. I'm not the type to attack people. Like, I just want to play, sometimes you gotta just, there's ways and there's routes to do things. We all know. Let me introduce, this is my girlfriend, Brianna. She's from Baltimore. She's in law school at St. Paul. She's about to graduate from DePaul this year with her JD and be a lawyer saving the girls. So, go ahead, Brianna.
I'm gonna say what I have to say, and I'm not gonna be disrespectful because I don't think that's necessary in a situation. We have to learn how to stop engaging people that are resistant and that are not interested in learning, because look at all the time that you wasted trying to go over basic one-on-one stuff. I just don't think that I don't think it's as beneficial for us to do that, and we have bigger fish to fry in community. If somebody's not interested in learning, and not by what they're saying, but demonstrating it through their actions, because from what I saw in the video, you told him that femme queen is problematic. Girls don't like being called femme queen, but his action was to continue to use it because that's what made him feel comfortable. Sometimes you just have to learn how to disengage and pick and choose your battles. We have too many things to fight for. We got this march coming up. We got the Supreme Court case coming out on October the 8th. So I think it's beneficial for us to fight on that and to not worry about somebody not understanding our humanity, not letting us define what our gender is for us and what womanhood for us, and letting us be able to vocalize that yes, we are different from cisgender women, but that does not make us less than cisgender women, and that a man should not be telling women how to feel or how they should rank as feel as a woman. And to just, I think this speaks to a larger issue with amongst the Black LGBT culture and in ballroom, about the misogyny in ballroom culture, and how you're saying that you love the girls and you have this respect for the girls, but how is that showing up in ballroom, in these spaces, in spaces where they're not in the room and you're speaking for them? So we really have to be we just have to be mindful that though we are a part of this community, we as women are not immune from misogyny and from patriarchy and from and people aren't a swarm of people are not just going to get mad at you for no reason. So I think it's worth it to sit back, to come down off the high, to sit back and really examine and really interrogate why is everybody so upset? Why is everybody so angry? Why is everybody coming at you? And it's for a reason. You are a pioneer icon. You are a man pioneer icon in this community. People listen to what you have to say. So if you are sitting here, a trans woman is saying, do not call me this, and you're demonstrating for all of these people watching this live that when a woman says to not do something, but I do it anyway, what example are you setting for the other men in the community? Cis gay men, trans men in the community, the example that you're setting for trans women, how a man is supposed to treat them or how they're supposed to show up. So you have to be mindful of that as a man. Even though you're gay, you're still a man. You still have privilege, you still have access. Ballroom might have been built on women, or women might have been the puss of it all, but it's still male dominated. I remember during my time in ballroom, anytime a woman tried to assert power or tried to get into a leadership position, she was fiercely challenged or told, you can't do this, or because you don't look like this, you're not entitled to this overall mother position. You're not entitled to lead my house because of misogyny. You don't look the part. You don't look into what's palatable or marketable, or you too big, or you dark skinned, or you can't do this. So all of that's in our community. So like I said, I don't want to disrespect him. I definitely want to respect him and what he's done in the scene, but you have to check your privilege, and you have to be mindful of everybody in the community. And telling somebody that they're an ape, that's not right. That's not right. Because if somebody called us an ape because we're Black, we'd be the first ones going, also, we can't sit and tell. And notice how they don't have this energy for the trans men. All of this energy is for trans women. It's for the trans women. So we just have to really, if this is outcry, or is the storm, you really have to sit back and really be mindful of the things that you're saying, and be mindful of the platforms that you have, and be mindful that the things you can say, people are not being sensitive. People are literally being fired behind this same talk, behind this saying, you are not women, so you don't have to get a job. You're a man, I'm a fire you. Like, people are literally being fired and murdered behind the same thing. So we can't just bury our head in the sand and act like we don't know how the two connect together. So I just really want to get on there and say that we stop engaging. We are more than just having these trans one-on-one conversations. If people are ignorant because they want to be ignorant. It's too many resources out here. There's too many girls doing the work. We need to leave the one-on-one conversations for them to find themselves, because whenever they want to find anything else, they learn how to do it. Whenever they want to learn how to Vogue. Yeah. Yeah, they know how to do that. They know how to vogue. If they want to do hair, they know how to go. Like, this information is available. It's free. It's available. People don't want to learn, and I think it's incumbent on us to not do the additional labor,
Right.
so we can focus and use our labor and our energy wiser to fight the other battles that we need to fight. So that's all I want to get on and say. Like I said, I don't want to disrespect, but you have to step away from the situation and look at it and think, why are so many people mad at me? Why is it having this? You just don't put stuff out there and it has this type of response, and you just say, well, I'm just not going to say it. Like, no, you have to evolve with the times.
Right.
You have to evolve with the
Right.
times. So I'm going to get off of here. I just wanted to
Girl,
say
I can't
this.
wait to see you on. You coming in on Friday. You'll be on Friday next week. Yeah. Can't wait
Right.
to see you.
All
All
right.
right. So thank you, Brianna.
All right.
Bye bye. So I'm gonna bring somebody else on, but I want to shout out Baltimore. So that's Baltimore, darling. That's Baltimore. Um, let me see who else I can bring on here. And yeah, like while we're talking about this and talking about people like that are problematic and the distraction, the things that went on with like Malik Yoba are distraction. When we're allowing these cisgender men to continue to invade our spaces, interrupt our spaces, and to try to create this paradigm of womanhood and femininity and all these other things, and not understand the difference, like we said, between the social and the biological construct, and that right there is killing a lot of people. People are dying right there every day because people don't understand that. People are killing themselves because people don't understand that. So let me just see who else I'm going to add as Kia. Let me add, Kia wants to be added. I can't let you. I just added you. Hold on. Yes, intent versus impact. Thank you, Jada. Yes.
Earpiece, my phone. Okay. I need my earphones.
Earpiece.
Earpiece. All right, hold on.
If I let you on this live and you have an iPhone, get an earpiece. Period.
Period. I don't know. You know, I don't be going live
Where's
from
Nala?
here.
Where am I supposed to know?
All right, I'm getting my thing. Hold on. All right, I got my earphones on. Hear me?
Okay, great.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you now. Okay. So
All right. I think I feel like if a person is only around femme queens, like you're a ballroom queen, you're just around femme queens. You live a ballroom lifestyle. You that's all you know. So the people type of girls you're around, who you adapt, who you're used to being around, don't live regular lifestyles. They live a femme queen lifestyle. It's not just transgender or transsexual. They live a femme queen lifestyle. That means that these girls aren't going out in society. They aren't copacetic with doing certain things. So that's your view and your outlook on them. So that's why if all I'm used to being around is black people, I'm not going to know how to adapt around anything else. Even if I'm around someone who may be black, but they're not from a urban ghetto culture, or that's not the way they were brought up, I'm not going to know how to adapt around them. It's going to be, oh, they think they're white, or oh, they think they're better just because it's the same exact type of thing.
okay. So what?
It's the same exact type of thing. So I'm saying, if you're the way what you're used to, if you're just used to femme queens just being femme queens, they walk balls. You're used to the crafty femme queens that walk balls, to sleep on couches. That does I'm saying, if that's what a person's used to, because there's a complete difference between a femme queen, a transsexual,
You know,
and someone who's trans.
okay.
It's a complete difference. It's a complete difference. Femme queen is a ballroom character. A femme queen is a ballroom character. A femme queen is someone in a ballroom turns a femme queen. That's exactly what it is. A glammed up queen. A
So,
glammed up
okay,
queen.
one of the things that I wanted to mention is that, and I tried to bring on with Andre and start the conversation is that it's about conditioning.
True. I
Hold on,
mean, that might be true, Temperance,
hold
but if that's
on,
all you used
hold
to,
on,
and most of
hold
the time,
on,
even you could be around femme queens 20, 30
hold
years.
on. One of the things and that's again a generational gap, right? Because Andre is from an older time, and there's whatever, and people's parents, we have what's called the generational gap, and you have also this conditioning of colonialism on our brains about what womanhood is, and that it's always
Facts, I got
and
y'all.
it's always around, it's always so focused on how less women are, right? It's always on women's bodies and defining a woman by her body. And see, that's what the big issue has always been. It's been so problematic with with society is that not only do we weaponize women, the big issue, like I've stated multiple times, Adam and Eve is a big problem. I wish that the teaching of that is a big problem. It starts off young. You send kids to Sunday school. They think women are fucked up from the beginning. Oh, damn, I came home. She gave me an apple. And, oh, she came out. All that thought, that colonialism. We need to change. How do we change the mind? That's what my concern now.
But what
How,
I'm saying,
let me,
but
well,
no,
let me finish.
I'm
Let me
reading.
finish.
Okay.
How do we
Okay.
change the thought process of these men and this patriarchal world? How do we recondition people? And that's what I was mentioning to Andre, is that it starts off with those words and those affirmations that you're affirming the people that you love. You affirm them. Yes, you are.
But if you're only if
Yes,
I only
Valerie, I'm done.
if I'm only around you in a ballroom perspective, it don't matter
Why
how
are you
much
talking about
serious or
ballroom?
how you can
We're
think.
talking about
But no, I'm talking about in general. I'm talking about in general because that's the something that's the mindset that a person has. That's where their mindset comes from because that's the only place where they're used to being around our kind. It's in the ballroom or those ballroom
sweetie. He just
characteristic
said he
wise
he just said sweetie. He
trans
had gave
women.
my he had
I mean that doesn't matter. But if the
why
only
are you
draw
yelling?
with you and them is certain ballroom girls, even that like in today's day and age we have different types of girls in the scene.
Fem
Like
queen is
of
a
course,
terrible word. I'm tired of that word anyway.
but I'm saying that it's a complete difference between femme queen and trans women and the way that some girls live their lives and some girls actually are. So even if I've known you for 20, 30 years, but I've never really necessarily lived with you, been around you in this type of setting, that type of setting, and I'm only used to being around this girl and that girl and
So
that
you
girl
think
who
that
lives
helps
like
change your
this,
thought process?
then that does not that's how your mindset is going to
I'm
be.
asking you, do you think that
I'm not.
do you think that that is how what created that helped create that mindset?
I do. If I'm only used to being around trainees that craft, that sleep like this, that live like men for a living, this fucking da 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 da, who's running up chasing butch queens and this, that, and the third. If I'm only used to being around that, that's how I'm gonna view everybody. I can know you, such and such and such and such and such and such, but
Nala,
I only know y'all in the scene. I don't really know y'all to
let me get
have lived
Nala.
my life around y'all.
Well, listen.
Exactly. But I'm saying if a person
Okay.
only adaptation towards trans women are ballroom, that's how what he's going to know is that ballroom cursive femme queen. He's not going to know that everyday real life trans woman who actually goes out in the world and adapts to the world as a normal person and a productive person in society. People don't know that. You only know what you're used to and what you're used to adapting to.
Well, and it's also this continued conversation around women being only able. You're only a woman if you can procreate. Like you're only a woman if you bleed every month, and you're only a woman if you have ovaries. And that's not true because some women lack those things. We're talking again about a sociological construct opposed to a biological one, and I think that a lot of people confuse the two. That conflation of the word gender and sex. There's a difference with the word gender and sex, and that it is problematic. You know, the word gender has acquired this new and useful connotation in these attitudinal characteristics, right? And like you look at something, it's called social identity theory, right? And it's a component, it's a self concept, right? And it's about membership in different social groups. Within this,
I'm gonna
so
say
listen,
this. Let me say that.
let
Let
me
me say
finish,
this.
bro. God
You
damn.
cannot go.
Wait,
You cannot.
I'm trying to
Go
finish.
ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
But what I'm saying is you cannot go to the ghetto, London. You cannot go to the ghetto and bring some Israelis in and let them come and try to adapt their ways on into life into people in the ghetto. Even if a person could be a black
I'm trying to
Hispanic
get.
person or a black Afro Latina person, they cannot come to
I'm
the
trying to get
ghetto,
now. I can't.
come straight from where they at and have those same exact ways. They can't because the people aren't going to accept and understand their
I don't get.
mindset.
Well,
They're not
okay,
going to
but
understand their mindset because it's two total, complete
okay.
different cultures.
All right, well, okay, that's fine. But I don't know what you're arguing with me for, and I don't know what the argument is. I
Uh,
don't get the argument. I'm confused. I see what your point, but I don't get the argument.
exactly.
Okay, what I'm saying is, okay, yeah, I don't get the argument. But there's a whole thing around social identity theory, right? And when you look at how you go into different social groups and categories, like there's this self-perception and behavior, right? And within the LGBT group, within ballroom, within these spaces, trans women are the women there that are supposed to be uplifted. So I don't get how any person when because trans women started ballroom like that is I always tell people if you want to get treated really, really feminine and like a lady, oftentimes it's in those spaces, right? It's in those spaces, and whether or not they have other agendas. But people will protect you, right? And they'll say, so how can you not say that you see me as a woman when socially, right? It's about social. I've been socialized one by the men like yourself, men like you who tell me how I must look. On like when Andre makes those comments about
True.
people looking like an ape or being pretty, that's socialization right there. And that is that is the womanhood right there, the socialization. You constantly telling how a woman's features are and her femininity is this and that, and she must be feminine. That's yeah. But let me get Miss Thing
Being
because
around somebody and living with somebody and living actually life with somebody is a total complete different thing. And that's all I'm gonna say because I see a lot of these comments that this person has been around that person, that person. That doesn't matter. It doesn't. Being around someone and actually
I'm just
living
because you think
living
about the
with
only thing.
someone and living your life and with someone in a complete different story is totally different.
Okay, so
That's all I'm gonna
what I'm
say.
trying to ask you is, are you talking about a separate topic or are you talking about Andre's topic specifically?
I was talking about that Andre topic because
Yeah,
that's
I'm
all
lost
I
from the
thought that this
narrative a
live was
little bit.
about.
That's what only I'm just
Okay.
confused. That's what.
No, but that's what I was talking about, and that's what I was breaking that down. Because if a person, all I'm saying is, if a person's used to a certain culture or a certain adaptment towards something, that's how they're going to view that. That's just like I'm be like, all niggas hate on me, all bitches hate on me, da 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 da, because all I'm used to being around is a ghetto hating ass motherfucker. That's how my view is going to be towards everybody from that environment. That's how my mindset is going to be set up because it's my mindset is set in one
Nala, oh wait,
place.
here go now. Nala, come to the live, girl. Come to the live now, Nala. The people is requesting now. Come to the live, Nala.
And I'm not saying
Come
all
on, Nala.
everybody. I'm just saying that if a person, most people. So let me get off of here. But girl, bye. I'm listening.
All right, listen, all right, y'all. Go to face. Go on Facebook. Go to your Facebook. Go back to your Facebook and come onto the live on my page, and then I'm gonna add you. Okay, y'all. I'm about to add knowledge you saw on here. Yes, it will never be resolved. In the meantime, while we do that, we gotta move away from this binomial nomenclature of sex being, and just keep talking around sex like male, female, and all this shit. That is triggering. Like it's triggering to me. Like when we have these conversations, to me, somebody with gender dysphoria, that is triggering. For someone to keep talking about body parts and all this and that, and me not able to have no kids and all, like who can't have kids, that is triggering to me. Like you need to respect me and not make me trigger because saying shit like that is okay. It sends me constantly telling me what my body lacks or what it needs or what I can't do with my body. That's what women deal with. Them. That is what women, cisgender women, deal with as well. Constantly telling men. I mean, men constantly telling what their bodies can't do. Hold on, let me add Nala. Nala, it won't. Nala, I can't. Nala, you gotta send my thing. You gotta. Hold on, y'all. Let me get. Fuck. Hold on, y'all. Nala, come on, come on. I'm waiting for the. Let me try to call her back again. And we back to this whole idea and around feminist thought. Like, I, these a lot of this shit just be. Hold on, here we go. Hey. What happened? I'm here. I'm waiting. I don't see. You gotta send me. Look. All right. So when you go on here, right, you gotta click. You gotta click that you send me a request because what I did is I don't see your name on here on the names. Let me try to do this. Hold on, let me try to do like this. I'm gonna type your name in. Nala, hold on. Okay. It said I already sent you a request. So I can't. Oh my god, Nala. If not, I'm gonna turn if not, y'all, I'm gonna turn um yeah, let me see. Damn. Okay. I hate how people keep defining who we are and standards of right. I'm not talking about that. Like, I'm talking about the ghetto, the hood. I don't know who. And one of them is okay. I want to get one of the misses on here. Mizrahi ladies, I just want to know. I see this thing right now where everybody's talking. There go Nala. Hold on. Where the people said they getting the fuck on. They didn't counsel. Y'all is counseling people in the ballroom saying that. Lord Jesus, they is counseling ballroom people. At first they counseled celebrities, then they counseling ballroom people. They didn't counsel the queen that was dancing at the ball. I'm glad they did. Got her off that stage. Got her the fuck up off of there. Good. Here she comes.
Is this
Yeah, it's
working?
working. You got your oh, you don't need your earpiece because I think we both got iPhones.
Yeah, I got iPhone.
Yeah.
Can you hear me
Yeah, I
now?
got you.
Yeah, I got you.
Oh wait,
Okay,
wait, you
cool.
got
Now,
on the
wait,
earpiece
you got on the earpiece
because you got iPhone.
because you got iPhone.
There you go. There you go.
Okay,
So
cool,
when
cool,
I said
cool.
CC Souza is
So now,
all right, go ahead.
no, you go ahead,
No, no,
baby.
no,
So
no.
what?
It's
So
all you. You got it. It's all you. You got the floor.
I'm still trying to get filled in because I jumped
So you didn't hear what was
in the, like the
happening.
middle of it. Well, Lala was feeling. That's what I was on the other phone with Lala, so she can fill me
So
in.
basically,
Apparently,
Andre is an icon in the ballroom scene, and he did a live video, which people thought was problematic, where he was saying that he believes that trans women are great and all, like, and he loves them and all, but that he don't see them as the same as like women who, like his mother, cisgender women, basically. But he kept saying
wow.
biological women, and I think that within that I can see room for fixing that because, again, like I was trying to say earlier, I think that we are so conditioned. And I was telling him that he's conditioned because colonialism, and how,
Right.
Tribes like the Yoruba tribe, they did not differentiate body parts, right? To define like your sex and gender. It had nothing to do with the body parts. So, yeah, that's kind of like I was trying to use that approach and other approaches to like.
But yeah, and that unfortunately, that is a lot of the rhetoric that a lot of people use is connected into giving birth, is connected to having periods, is connected to all that. And women are more than that. And I think that's a problem. And I heard when Sister Brianna came on and she was like, we got to stop giving energy, which is true. And I think right now there's a struggle because when we talk about womanhood, cis women don't know how to create space.
Right.
And we also have to be clear that and not just create space. I think oftentimes they think that their space is being challenged, their existence is being challenged, and oftentimes what happens is because when you think about women, particularly when you think about Black women have to combat a lot of different things, and often the Black woman is the one teaching many of the men in our lives, right? And so what tends to happen is a conversation of Black women feel like, I got to go up against who loves me, right? Black men already saying they're dating white women, right? So there's the colorism piece. There's the body piece. Natural hair versus weave, right? Fat versus skinny. You get what I'm saying? And so then here
westernized shit.
All westernized shit.
White people shit.
And so oftentimes when we're having this LGBT or particularly the woman of trans experience conversation, oftentimes they don't associate that shit is not Black community shit. But not understanding, as long as there's been Black people, as David John says, is like there's been LGBT people. It's just the language has shifted. The language has changed.
Look at Mombasa, Kenya, when the women, when the men die in Mombasa, and the woman takes on the role as becoming a husband, and she has to pay and look after the women, right? That's you have all these different cultures from the Hejra and the Pakistan, like all these different tribes where the Mahu in Hawaii, the what is it, the Equiba, I think it's called the Equiba. You have all before white people came around with their bullshit and trying to preach their religion to people, right? And teaching people about Adam and Eve and all this other stuff. People want to think about none of that kind of stuff. They just wanted to they've got up.
But here's the thing about when we think about theology and particularly about Bible, people tend to parcel out what they want to parcel out in the Bible, in that type of theology. What tends to happen in the Bible, people don't realize that the eunuch is the story of the trans. The Ethiopian eunuch is the one who brought the Christ. But folks will not acknowledge that trans existence at all. And so it is detrimental when we're thinking about if we're going that right of theology, that is like, oh, we won't acknowledge the trans existence. And when we think about Sodom and Gomorrah, what happened is that they'll tie it to gayness when it's about they were being inhospitable. They were not hospitable to anyone. And that's why that actually happened. Yeah. Right. Your phone sound muffled.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
It was about people, you know, it was more so about people masturbating and spilling the seed onto the ground instead of putting it into the belly of a whore, you know, and growing the population. So like, yeah, language. I'm reading something my son wrote. Certain language is dangerous, and yeah, and we look. We both took Black Masculinities and Morehouse together. We was in the same look. We are perceived as other by hegemonic groups, perceived as allies, but trans allows. Like, where's the oppressor now? It's the gay ally agrees.
And if we even notice, because I'm looking at some of the comments about Esther in the Bible, if you notice in the Bible, most of the men are named, a lot of the women are not named. And so that even shows us about the misogyny that existed, about the privilege men had. And so now we're at a place of having this conversation where we're shifting and actually creating narrative for women to be able to speak and to be heard and to be named. So all that folks don't really realize that this language that is shifting is one to be inclusive of, is one to create understanding.
Right.
And one of the things that I was thinking of was I was talking to Mike Robinson, and he often reminds me is that, you know, the ballroom, right, is the theology of the Black trans woman. The Black trans woman created ballroom scene. And so it bothers me the disrespect that trans women get. And now this femme queen versus trans woman, I was listening to that piece, and is that we got to understand, to cultural context, someone is going to identify differently. There are still women of trans spirit on trans women who would prefer to call tranny. That is not the way in which I affirm. I think what folks try to harp on is that they are confused on what to call who, because there are not relationship building. They do not have the capacity to build a relationship. Right. They do not have the capacity to love because they have not been taught to love. Right. They've been taught how to survive. Right. And so a lot of these conversations is about relationship building.
Right. Right. And
because no Black person would have been dared to be called nigger. We get that off the back of our hand. Right. But anytime we introduce anything else, and particularly when a woman is talking, it's a level of resistance.
Mm-hmm. Always. And why you mentioned about ballroom, that's like we were at House Lives Matter, right? And everybody had their hand up, right? But I was the first person with my hand up. And I kept waving it. Kept waving it. The microphone was passed to a man who put his hand up after me, and I said, wait. We're going to stop this misogyny here now, because that's what goes on here. That's what constantly goes on in this ballroom scene. It just goes on and on. Because the ballroom scene is a microcosm of the real world, right? It's a microcosm of what goes on in the real world. And so all those same things that happen, the misogyny, the fucking everything that happens goes on right in the ballroom scene, right? And people are not willing to see it. I just noticed how someone wrote, let's have retreats and stuff. Every time any of that stuff has tried to happen, I think that the first thing is that we need to make sure that when we have these spaces, that they're centering trans people, just like our conference.
Absolutely.
Listen, which I wanted you to come to, Maryland Trans Resilience Conference. It will be next Saturday, where we're centering Black and brown trans voices.
I'm facilitating a retreat. I wish I could be there. I'll be there in spirit.
Right, but no, I know, but Brianna's coming in. Hey, sis, Brianna's coming in. To facilitate. But I honestly, like, those are conversations, like I said, it's always hard to have these hard conversations. And one of the things that I mentioned earlier is about fixing the pipes, right? We keep talking about the water leaking, but bitch, we got to get under the sink. It's so many underlying issues, and it's like we can't fix the forefront issue until we get under the sink and fix the pipes. And that's like the thought process, changing the mind, change how we think, change how we treat each other, change how we talk. Like, we have to, like, somebody had to do it. Listen,
here's the struggling. Here's the thing that I've been grappling with lately. I might get rid.
I already know.
I've been trying.
But let's can I just jump in and say something, sis? What frightens me a lot of times is the inability for people to express themselves or say their opinion without fearing they might be canceled. Because and that, to me,
well, that's what my question was. That was my question is what does redemption look like in our community? Because what I have realized is that there's a conversation, damn if I do, damn if I don't.
Right.
And there is a level of doing things intentional, right? But what does it look like redemption when I think about African traditions, when we mess up, that we're brought down to the well and we're uplifted?
Right.
In African tradition, when someone messes up, folks bring that person who has done great harm in the community and lift them up and remind them of the beauty and the
And
power
that was
they
my
have.
purpose of bringing Andre
And
on.
I don't understand when we as community mess up, that we also are quick to throw that person
That was
away
my
rather
purpose
than
of
being
bringing him on.
rather than being patient in their process, not accepting the ignorance, but being patient. Well, you're not there, we'll wait.
Right.
Because the movement is going to happen regardless. Transformation will happen regardless.
Like what? And then
But
what is account? And that's what we were saying, like about accountability, right? And I think that a big part of the redemption is you having some accountability and understanding the trauma you've inflicted on somebody, understanding the pain, right? You know that you can't. It's like you can't apologize for something if you don't know what you did wrong, right? So it's
Right.
like that's what I was trying to say when Andre was just speaking. It's like it's hard for me to ask him or get an apology from him because he's not understanding what has happened or what's wrong.
No. I'm going to stop you right there. It's not that he's not understanding. He's listening to respond versus listening
right.
to understand. And so those are the two things that often happens in the breakdown in communication, is that oftentimes people are listening to respond because they're in defensive of
That's why I
what
told
the
him, take
truth
the
is
comments
in that
off.
moment.
Turn them comments off. Because we all do that shit. That shit, we do it all the damn time. We sit there and look at them comments and you be ready to respond to the comments. And that's not what it's about. You know, I just want us to start having more, like, I want to see mobility, like, and movement and not just dialogue. And like, I just want to see, like, the different, like, I'm ready to see the changes. Like, I don't want to just keep seeing the talking. I'm tired of hearing the talk. I'm tired of going to places and talking. I'm tired of going in spaces and, like, sitting in the spaces and trying to just keep engaging with people and all this damn facilitations and all this shit. I want to see action, you know, and action within our own, right? Because it definitely starts with us. I think that I remember a long time ago, I started this thing called We Want Respect. I don't know what trans girls remember that. Remember I said we needed to boycott the ball, and I started that thing called
I remember that.
Remember I said we want respect, and everybody was supposed to not go to the balls. The trans women was supposed to stay away from the balls and see how they went along, because it was all this disrespect from men that, you know, towards trans women in the scene. And I said, let us just stay away from the ball, and if we stay away from the balls, we'll let them miss us.
I often think about the ballroom scene, and I'm not throwing shade. I think about the ballroom scene. I think the ballroom scene creates the same type of hurt the church creates.
Oh, please. Yes, it does. Look at it. You want to walk face
because think about it, and it makes sense why that happens, right? Because most of Black people grow up either in a practicing Islamic practice, in Judaism,
don't forget Latin, because it's ball is Latin too. Says Catholic. You got the Catholic Latins who are against homosexuality. Okay.
And so when we invite people in to our truth, we got kicked out. And then trans women of trans experience, created houses to only been told what they should look like to emulate what it was a cis woman. And so was told what their bodies should look like.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Mariah, please stay on here, because I definitely want to have you come on here, Mariah. Lord Jesus. Go ahead, sis. No, I'm going to keep breaking it down, sis.
Yeah. And so within the ballroom, what tends to happen is that trans women were told what to do with their bodies and what will make them look passable and fishy. My thing that I grapple with, that I have problem, is that oftentimes trans women are told what to do, when to speak, when to come to a panel, but no one is talking about leadership. I often see a lot of these gay men in higher position, but would never stop to create the tools of leadership.
Right.
For trans women. And then when we say, hey, give us this position, I need support, it's crickets.
Right. And listen, and why are we not uplifting our own leaders? Why are we not putting these dollars? Let me say something. Balls and shit make a lot of money. And I mentioned this earlier. I said, listen, why don't people want to get a co-op? Or why not take that money and put it behind somebody that could be a politician for us, right? Somebody that can go uplift community and be in the spaces. And you got, so many of us have access. Why not put that money behind the person, behind somebody, and uplift them into a place of power and position, right? And even when it comes to trans women, you got girls making too much tax-free money, okay? Making a lot of tax-free dollars that they spend on weaves and nails and labels and all types of stuff so they can get to whatever, because men, gay men period, have told them what a woman is supposed to look like. So they out trying to go get their shit together. And that money, imagine if the girls were taking all that money they was spending on dumb shit.
But here's the thing, but also like financial investment. A lot of women of trans experience don't even think about investment to when they're going to age, because we're not taught that we're going to live past 35.
Right. No. And also, we're not taught that we have intelligence or that we're smart. I've never, one of the things, it's so crazy how my realness was always based on, like, I had braces, I had a car, I had my own place, and certain stuff. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, when I met a boy, he thought I was real, not because necessarily I looked all the way real, but certain things that he didn't think that a trans woman could have. You get what I'm saying? Like, a boy would say, "Oh, you have this, or you have a job, so that means you're not a trans woman," and that would be the realness to him, which is problematic, and it's crazy. Or if I first meet a guy, the first thing he asks me is, "What hotel you staying at?" I'm like, "Sweetie," and I tell him I'm trans. I'm like, "Sweetie, I'm not." It's this narrative about trans women has left not just the ballroom scene. It has been spread all around, this narrative about what we are, who we are, and then you get this instance of these quote unquote palatable trans women, and this respectability politics is going on in Hollywood right as we speak, right? And it discounts so many other people. It discounts the people that made the struggle, because if you look at Marsha P, she wasn't necessarily the ideal standard of what beauty would be or passability would be, right? But she was a pioneer, right? But it takes away people like that struggle when you only take these quote unquote palatable trans women or whatever, and you put them in these places and you let them come and then you tokenize you. That happens all the time.
And let's not forget Sylvia. I think that, and also something that I often sit with when we're talking about Marsha P and also uplifting Sylvia. I think what ends up happening is that if we were able to really go back as people of the African diaspora and really just do this internal work of undoing racism for ourselves, right? Because the reality that we can't undo what white people created. White people need to undo racism.
We can't dismantle it with the tool.
And the system that they created. They have to do that work.
Right. You weren't on here, but I just said it, Nala.
They have to do that.
I just said that, Nala.
They have to do
They gotta do the
work.
Just like just like I said, black women have to do the work for a lot of this transphobia that's going on. Because a lot of it starts around women. Because if a man is trying to be masculine to impress women, like, I could be outside and see whatever, and if a man, like, if it's thought that he is doing this, that's where a lot of it comes from, right? Because of this narrative that has been put around by women, black women.
But I'm telling you, when I hear women shout out, "But that's a man," what I've learned to hear is, why they not paying attention to me? Why he not looking at me?
That's like
what you see in her
that you don't
see. And so it goes back to what I'm saying earlier, is that really this conversation of healing is really inviting our mothers.
Right.
This conversation of healing is really inviting our aunties and our sisters.
Right. And
because that's where it actually starts.
Let me tell you something.
That's where it actually starts.
Yes. Let me tell you something. Yesterday I did this. I reposted that post that Trace put that said, men who date trans women are not gay. Which, again, there's some stuff that you can unpack in that too. When I put that up, somebody inboxed me and had the audacity to say, "That's not true." I was disgusted. This person started to love. This person is around me all the time. I was disgusted when I read that. I didn't know what else to say. I was so hurt that I was like, okay, I know what you do. When I'm not around, you reads me down. You better probably tell people I'm a man and everything else, because I was at a,
Oh, I keep saying that during this season, a lot of the truth is going to be revealed.
Let me tell you something.
And spiritually and all of that. This season, people going to be in a lot of relationships and people going to lose a lot of relationships.
Damn. But girl, I'm so, my mind right now, it's so much thinking going on. And look, the conversation, this is what I have a question for you. And Brianna, all y'all chime into this. Please, everybody chime in. There was that article going around stating that Black trans women wanted to be a part of Black Girls Rock, right? And they felt excluded. So of course, you know, I read the comments. You know, obviously, you know, the comments was absolutely buck out. I felt, so I want to ask you about that.
Speak it true. Don't sugarcoat, because I think that you're gonna say what I'm going what I thought and I sat with, because what I thought with was like, yes, we should be included, and I think about like, all right, we just gonna create our own goddamn table at some point,
right?
Because at this point, it's like, it's either you're gonna be inclusive or you're not gonna be inclusive,
right?
And I think what ends up happening when we keep when Black women get together to create the space of healing and of affirmation for themselves, and we say throw the whole thing away as trash, they feel attacked, versus when we're saying, hey, we've been standing with you, we've been holding space for you, we've been your sister's keeper. Why are you not bringing us to tea? You need us when it's time for makeup.
You better shut. I will throw this
You
phone.
need us when it's time for the look. You need us when you want to know what shoes to wear. You want us to know what hairstyles you want to wear. But when it's time to acknowledge our success and our educational piece, we get dismissed and we're reduced to them just calling us, oh, you only a man. That's disrespectful. And so it comes to a point is that, okay, are we going to still keep fighting with them? Or are we actually going to show people what it looks like to be free and just create our own?
Thank you. And that's why I said create our own shit, our own spaces. I don't need to be in your space. I don't have to be in your space. I was never a bitch that was on that marriage equality shit. That's some white shit. That was never my issue. Never not thought about. I ain't give a fuck about that shit, because I'm married and I don't want to fucking be married. Okay, fuck being married. Okay, at the end of the day, like, when I read that article and saw how like everybody's, oh, Black girl, we need our own shit. You are so right, Nala. Like, it's always has to be it has to be solidarity across movements, and people don't get that. Like,
because regardless, I'ma still stand with the ignorant Black woman, because she's needed and she needs to remember that she's valued. But she's not gonna disrespect me. She's not gonna disrespect me.
Yeah.
But what I will say is this: is like, all right, well, keep your Black Girls Rock. But what we need to remind them, you're not going to use me as your accessory.
Oh, you're not going to bring me to the red carpet and have me in the background and do all that kind of dumb shit that you like. Oh, the girl.
Because I bet you $5 that one of them people that walked across the stage was hairstyled or dressed by a Black trans woman.
Let's tell you something. I just was texting somebody telling them I was on my way to Congressional Black Caucus. Mind just, you know, kind, whatever, that know me for. Mind you, she knows me. So she knows what it is. She just said, are you coming to do glam? Bitch, what do you mean am I coming to do glam? Excuse me? Am I coming to do glam? No, I'm coming to be a part of the sessions. What do you mean?
Oh, I'm about to say something. You know what it is? Particularly cisgender women still conflate trans women to gay men.
Yes.
That's the notion.
And so does the CDC and all these pharmaceutical companies with this damn MSM and put a couple of MSMs and trans women together. Yes, you better stop it, sis. I cannot.
And so, and I think it's also it's important that we hold BET accountable. BET shouldn't just be covering our stories when a Black trans woman is murdered. BET shouldn't just be covering our stories when when a man is coming and taking up space to talk about his attraction to trans.
Right.
Like, there has to be some more stuff.
How the fuck does he got a media tour? How does he have a media tour?
You got to give me something. But here's
But that media tour.
All right, God.
No, go here, Seth. Do it.
My you know, in love, what I say, any brother who is trans attracted, because I'm not even gonna give any names, really need to sit down and hear sisters, but also need to apologize, because there has been some harm that has been created from a lot of cisgender Black men who had lived the heteronormative life, who in the dark was like, but I really am in love with a Black trans woman. But society said I can't be with her.
Ooh.
So after we done, I gotta go back. But while I was laying with her, she provided me her emotional labor. She told me how to love the Black cis woman. She told me how to raise kids.
Ooh.
She told me how to heal.
Ooh.
And so now I'm ready to go back to the cisgender woman, but still be in the. That does not work.
Oh,
it doesn't
you better
work.
Stop it. You better stop it. Let me tell you something. Somebody just sat on my floor and talk. You better stop it. You better stop it now, because that just did something to me. I would never forget. I will never forget this to the day. This used to be the most triggering thing to me. I used to date a guy or date a man, and what their famous line to me was this: "I love you. I like you so much. I can't." They used to say, "I love you so much that I can't be around you, because every time I'm around you so much, I love you so much, and because you can't have my kids, I can't do it."
Ooh!
They used to say, the boy used to say, he would say, "Every time I look in your eyes, I know I want to be with you for the rest of my life, but knowing that you can't create another one of me, I can't do it." So that's why that conversation around, like I said, it's triggering to me when people start talking about kids and biology and all.
But that's the harm. But that's the harm that, and here's what the re-trigger is: when cis women say, "But bitch, you can't have kids," we get re-harmed.
It's triggering.
As if every cis woman can actually have kids. What are we doing?
My girlfriend don't have ovaries.
I know there is more to being a woman. And let me be clear, my lived experience is not one of the cis woman experience. We may have lived and shared experience, but you will not change my experience.
Right.
You can't.
Right. The goal is to try to change. The goal is to try to erase your existence. You know, and not, but erase your existence, but not erase the progression that your existence has created. Right. Like the change that you've made. And it's just, girl, I have tried on multiple times to, kept saying, I was like, what does intersectionality, conversations around intersectionality look like for Black women and trans women? Like, how can we get into a space?
Most people, I was about to say, most hood ninjas from the hood don't even know the word intersectionality. They have not, and I think that's a piece that we also get to understand, is that a lot of these conversations that we have, it only happens in universities that do, gender studies and women's studies. We don't learn about our Blackness until we go to universities that talk about Black studies.
Right.
The system is working the way it has always been working.
Yes, you ain't never lied.
And then when we add school push out to that, right? Black boy don't have support, and he goes to school. He's already seen as a thug. He get pushed out. He's on the corner. So I mean, it's working the way it works. But the thing is that after age of 7, the mind is already developed. It works the way it's supposed to work. So that willingness to not learn is there because they have already been through the struggle, been traumatized. So they're like, I'm surviving. Fuck all that shit. I don't need to hear about none of that shit. I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna put the next food in my stomach. And so really, we've been trying to bring these men to the table and invite folks in when they're like, I'm trying to survive. I only have sense.
Hold on 1 second. Let me answer. Wait, I'm sorry, sister. I think Miss Nashida is. She said, "Girl, if you think having kids is all there is being a woman, then you have no respect for cis women no more than you respect trans women." Well, I would hope that she was not speaking to me, because I would hope that she was not speaking to me when the first thing that I said when I came on this live is that it's that minimizing a woman to what her body can do, minimizing a woman down to what her body looks like and what her body can do is perpetuating that same patriarchy, and I'm not doing it. So no, what I said is that it's triggering to me because it triggers my dysphoria. That's what it is. I have gender dysphoria.
But that's that piece where people just be listening to respond. And it goes to where their stance is on how they feel about trans women. And that's the issue. Folks are sometimes really just not listening to understand. They are listening to respond and to correct and to defend, rather than just sitting back. Well, I don't know about this experience. Let me shut up and just listen.
Right.
Let me shut up and listen.
Right. Because I just know that part of my recognition of being trans and understanding that I was trans was being in the 6th grade and crying because I couldn't get pregnant by this boy in school.
Wow.
So, you know, to me, in my mind, it's triggering to me, you know, because it takes me back to like 6th and 7th grade and thinking about that in my head. So we all have our triggers, you know.
I sit with you on that.
Yeah.
I've experienced that in dating when I first was dating, and it's not that he knew I was trans because he went to a best friend of mine, and she intentionally unintentionally was like, I'm gonna tell you that she's a trans woman. If you get to know her, you cannot hurt her feelings. You cannot hurt her, because that's like sisterhood to me. Well, what do I tell you? We were dating 6 months. We're getting to know each other. I said, so where this going? Are we going serious? He said, well, honestly, I thought you was clear where I wanted to go because you can't have kids. You wasted 6 months of my time to tell me that you actually don't want to settle down because you can't have kids.
And this is where I find that term trans attracted to be so problematic. Like, hold on, I'm trying to read. I read now. Wait, before I get about to read Lourdes'.
Take your time. Take your time.
Did you think there would be a different result from cis people when you appeal to your oppressor for your freedom? You diminish your freedom to abstain over time. I agree with Nala Simone. We just need to create our own. Yes, that's all we needed to create our own. Lourdes, you already know. You know what to do, girl. Create. It's all about having your.
You know her name is Lourdes. Everybody always call her Lourdes. You know, I hear her in my head. It's Lourdes.
Dr. Hunter. I just like Dr. Hunter, darling.
Yeah, Dr. Hunter works,
darling.
Right.
Yes, phallic. You got phallic.
Yeah.
Oh, you better shut, Brianna. You better stop.
So
listen. Let me say this. Can I say this? So the other day I was thinking about I'm gonna bring Lourdes on too. I wanted to bring Mariah on here too. Let me see Mariah, because I wanted to bring Mariah on here because Mariah Lord, I don't see her name in the Mariah. Are you on here? Just say yes or no. Say hello. I was talking about earlier, asking Andre on here. I was like, so if a trans man, if we keep saying that men that date trans women are gay, right? Let's just go to this narrative, because again, everything goes around to this primacy of masculinity. Like, masculinity is the power of it. If a man, right, dates a trans man, isn't he gay? Like, in the eyes of like cisgender women, like cis women.
Wait, if you say if a cis
no, I'm saying,
male.
Listen to what I'm saying. When you see a trans man with a beard, big burly chest, right? He has all these features of a man. If a black woman, I would ask her, if this man is dating this cisgender man is dating this trans man and kissing him in his mouth, and you see this, you would think that you would call him gay. You wouldn't be worried about.
Yeah, they sure would.
You wouldn't be worried about the genitalia of the trans man, but it's just. I mean, no. I'm saying. So that's what I'm trying to say. So but that's how it looks. So if you see a trans woman with a man who's masculine and she looks extremely whatever to you, or whatever.
I got it. I got what you're trying to say, because I think oftentimes when we're having this conversation of cis men who are in relations with whatever the sort with women of trans experience, I think oftentimes that's all people think.
Right.
When I started talking about, well, why everybody always assume that trans women only date cis men? Why do they only assume that trans women or women
I'm looking for me a trans
don't
woman.
date women?
I just said I'm looking for me a trans woman with a coin. I just got on here and said the other day.
I'm just saying.
Hello. If I'm getting me a trans, I want a trans woman with a coin.
I think it's been so damaging because, and I won't say damaging. I just say, I think when we're having this conversation, yes, we get fixated on how trans women love, fuck, live, and die.
And their parts. All we worry about their parts in between the legs.
and all about our parts, but no one's having the full conversation of, well, it's not just us. It is not just us.
Oh, okay. Okay. Hello. Which
It's not just us.
no, it's not. But you know, it's like how, again, what are we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? It's like I get so tired of these damn
But
rhetoric.
I think we are doing enough, and I think that's the thing. We put too much pressure on ourselves.
Right.
We put too much ownership on people's unwillingness. It is detrimental to our existence, our well-being, our heart. I truly believe if we hold on to trauma in the body, that is going to kill us before anything else.
And it has been proven. It has been proven that we hold on to. Remember, me and you had this when we went to dinner. We had the conversation about how, you know, the trauma of the mass trauma that the slave masters invoked upon the slaves genetically is inscribed in the DNA, and it is passed on and passed on. Just like alcoholism goes from grandmother to grandfather.
That's
like
right.
It goes on and on. It lives it has a memory. It has memory in the DNA, and it goes from generation to generation. So it's like, how is it ingrained in us? How do we fix that part? You know, it's like, what do we do to change these things?
But it's almost like how we talk about undoing racism. And particularly, and I have to acknowledge, femme bodies often feel like they have to fix.
Yeah.
Femme bodies often have to feel like they have to fix, be in control of empathy first, be control of compassion, be in control of mothering. And I think that's the thing that oftentimes trans women get dismissed, is that we don't often get seen as mothers when we have been mothering a community. We have been mothering the motherless. And so when people say you can't have kids, bitch, you better give me my roses, because I'm pretty sure many women have.
I just said this on the live yesterday.
So many motherless.
I just
and
said
how
this on
dare
the
somebody
live.
sit there and say that we are not mothers because we cannot give kids.
I said because
that is disrespectful.
I just said
if it was up to me, a lot of trans women will be getting whipped.
I just said, listen, let me tell you something, sis. You have to understand that everything doesn't, in the scheme of the world, in this puzzle that we in, everything doesn't work the same way. And, you know, it's just like, you know, you're in a garden. We're in a beautiful garden, right? Every flower don't look the same, but and all the things that's created in this space work differently, right? So the bees suck the nectar out and they drop the honey. I might not be able to have children, but I could raise your motherfucking children that you done put out your house because you thought that he or she had on a skirt or a pair of pants, and you didn't want them there. But when now they sleeping in my back room and I'm taking care of them and looking after them. So sweetie, I am a mother. How dare you? You know, how I don't get people not understanding the position and how the world works and its mechanics. And it's about homeostasis. Like me and my son was saying, it's homeostasis. And that we as trans women or trans people in general, we opt into the homeostasis and keeping the world moving in the space that it is.
And if you want to talk about squeezing lemons out of nothing, trans women been doing that from day one. If you think about resources, we didn't have jobs, but we made coin. We know how to create lemon juice or
we ain't had body, but we got big asses and big y'all.
So when I think about oftentimes leadership roles, I be telling like Dr. Hunter often say, the girls already have the tools. We just gotta rename it on our resumes. That's all.
Let me tell you something, sis. So on the 15th of October,
strategic planning. Bitch, if you got home today, that's strategic planning. And you're a trans Black woman, that was strategic planning.
You better stop. Listen, you might be you sitting here coming, you do sex work, bitch. You got customer service out the ass and marketing skills, bitch. I didn't watch you sit here. Listen, bitch, I didn't watch her see a bitch turn her whole face into another piece of work of art. And bitch, you don't and bitch, you ain't trying to go into coding or technology or go into Adobe, bitch, and do graphics. Bitch, you have transferable skills. And that's why I said, like, on this, I'm having an event on October the 15th at the Enoch Pratt Library with a partnership there to get girls to come down and do their resumes. Got trans men, non-binary folks, trans women, across the spectrum, gender expansive, to come down, get a disk drive, learn what justice gaps are, learn how to fill those justice gaps with transferable skills from your underground economy work and what that looks like, and how to, you know, properly interview around it, how to properly mention what your struggle looked like when you go in that interview and they saw that background, how to talk about it. You know, how to have those conversations, how to go in there dress. So, you know, you have the tools. You are right, sis. You have the tools. We gotta learn. We gotta learn how to use them.
And be clear. It just doesn't. It applies to the hood person who. It applies to Tay Tay and them, who know how to sell.
Ooh. Who? Who's
Tay Tay and them?
What they know how to do?
Sell. Back in the day, CDs, cigarettes, you name it, incense.
Ooh, you better stop it.
The issue is that we weren't given the tool to name it that. White people doing that now with cannabis.
We don't got no. Well, the shit is they ain't trying to let us in that either. They trying to exclude us from that. Listen, cannabis came from, like, if everybody knows the history of cannabis, y'all gotta go learn the history of cannabis. And okay, that belonged to us. Taken from us, and now monetized, and we don't reap no benefits. All we doing is paying and buying the shit, and we ain't reaping no benefits. That's they don't want to let people in. They want to create all these systematic barriers, like, oh, if you have a record, you know, in Maryland, like how now it's, you know, you can go and get dispensaries. Oh, but you have to come in and you have to provide and show that you have liquid cash in the amount of $100,000 to $1 million, right? Which who's going to be able to do, you know? And then it's all these other systematic barriers, like, oh, well, on top of it, you have to have this score, and you also can't have a record. So
tell you a lot about how that actually work in terms of banking, particularly in New York City.
Okay, but
I ain't gonna take up too much space. So when you want to bring other people from,
let me bring Mariah. You ready, Mariah? Let me get Mariah. I love you, sis, so much. You know I love you, sis.
I love you, sis. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Right. Good
I'm
night.
gonna be on.
Right
side. How do I exit?
I can do it at the top. Illegal does not mean illegitimate. Exactly. Let me tell y'all something. People be trying to down. If y'all don't know anything about sex workers are actually who integrated New Orleans. If y'all know, the Octoroon sex worker is who integrated New Orleans. So sex work is work, period. And I'm a believer in that. It is work. Sex work is work, period. I need now, Mariah. You have to send me a request. Mariah, send the request. I don't see Lourdes in it. Mariah, send the request. Mariah. Oh, here it is. Hold on. Yes, I did too. I love Nala. I would love it.
Earpiece.
It's not charged, London. I just let it.
Hold on. Let me see if my earpiece. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. In the meantime, I just quiet. You can just talk. I'm gonna bring on Ashley too. Ashley, are you in it? Hold on. I guess I got it. It's still echoing. My earpiece. I think it's your earpiece. Damn.
It's not my reception, right? It need an earpiece.
Just talk. I'm not gonna talk.
I mean, well, how the fuck that gonna go? Hey, I mean, shit. I mean, somebody else tagged me in this. I was just watching. I do want to say, I know we mentioned Dr. Hunter and others a couple times. Not trying to start this live from a negative, but I'm happy to entertain coming on. But people that I know, even you, I don't know you as close as I know Dr. Hunter. Ain't nobody called me. Ain't nobody called me. So my message has been up, and I've also pointed out other people that have my number. That's why I pointed it out.
I mentioned your name, and I saw you something. You did that I'm believing it. I thought you was done.
No, and let me just come back and say, I only, after speaking to March organizers yesterday, first of all, I didn't delete it properly because I didn't know how.
I'm gonna beat this trans guy up. I love him to death up here, Casey. He was supposed to help me erase my shit. He literally did it. I gave him my password, and he did that. But in the last week, I've been in contact with march organizers about just the events and what's happening. And it was after a discussion yesterday where they assured me that all of the workshops will be facilitated by cisgender people, that I decided to make sure I made that known myself, especially because I just knew people were waiting with bated breath so I would be able to get it out. But I just was tagged by my sis, my niece, Katrina, and just came on here to watch. And I was happy to watch you and Nala discuss stuff. But what I'm honestly feeling, and again, I tuned on your live, sis, because I obviously respect you and I hear you. But in general, I don't feel supported at all. From the community. And again, I wish you would have told me I needed earpiece. I would have just charged mine. I didn't know I would have charged it. I came from class and that's all I had was my little earpiece and or my little. Okay, so what about?
Oh my God. You want to write? You want to write?
Is it my that I need headphones?
Yeah, you have earpiece on.
So I could try to charge it. Well, let me just say this real quick. If what y'all thought I was gonna come up here to do and talk about Malik,
no, I'm not giving him no
life. So I will get in the comment section. This is what before I do that, I want to say this. We're all traveling to DC, and there's a group called the Check It that people have heard of. I know you know. The Check It to me is not like a lot of kiki models and ball house models that we see, because it happens spontaneously, Londyn, from young people, right? So ballroom is older peers or cohorts, house mothers, taking a younger, model or youth and teaching them. Doesn't matter how close in age. The Check It seems to spontaneously exist out of their needs there in the DMV area. And
I'm not speaking.
Oh man. So let's just do this like grown-ups.
All right, charge your piece real quick. I'm gonna get charge your piece real quick. Okay. All right, where's Lourdes? Lourdes, where are you? I want Chastity too. Lourdes, I can't see any, and I want to bring a trans man. I'm gonna bring Siren. I can't see. Hold on. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna move you up, Siren. But as you, trans men are men, and so therefore I'm prioritizing women, trans women today, and centering their voices. So I will get you after we get their voices. We're gonna. I'm trying to get Lourdes. I can't. Hold on, Lourdes. Fuck. Lourdes. Hold on, Lourdes. I don't see Lourdes. Maybe Lourdes signed off already. So, and Chastity, I cannot add you. I would bring Lala after him, but Lala is not. I wanted to get Lala, but I don't. Her thing. Certain people, it doesn't say add. Like you can't add people. Like in Nicole, I can. Like it doesn't say add when I look at your name. It just has like a blank spot. So when I try to add people, like if I click you, I can't add you. What the fuck? That means you probably have to go inside your thing and type in. Hey Andre. Andre has signed in for a second and just signed out. Hey Andre. Who is this? Lala. Okay, I see the names. Hey Tyra. Hey Justine. I'm gonna go ahead and add you, Siren, because I can't have your earpiece on. If I add you, please have your earpiece on. Lourdes, where are you, Lourdes? Okay. Earpiece.
Okay, can y'all see me? Okay, cool. So
We can see you.
all right, so being that I am a man, but I at least
Oh Lord,
entertain
here we go. These people just bad reception.
and be who bad reception?
You got
Yours or
damn
mine?
reception. You got
Okay, hold on.
yours cutting out. Lala, I'm gonna get you. I'm trying to. Lala, send a request to the queue, Lala, too, because I can't queue you. Why is it doing this? Okay, go. Yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
it's good now. Okay, so what I was saying was, it's because I was connected to Wi-Fi, but so what I was saying was I don't want to take up too much space, but I do want the trans women to know that the trans men, and I can't speak for all trans men. So, but it's, but as far as, I feel like I'm
CC,
echoing.
call Lourdes.
Am I
You're
echoing? Because
fine.
I
Go
keep
ahead.
hearing.
CC, call
Okay,
Lourdes.
all right.
Now,
So I don't want to take up too much space, but I just want the trans women to know the trans men are here. We've been posting all day. We've been making our lives. We've been up in arms. We've been getting mad. I just want y'all to know that we're here. And my biggest thing coming on here is to let that be known. At the end of the day, trans women are women, trans men are men. We as a community have to stand together. And it's one of those things where I want to be the person that goes to bat and argues with all the people that say what they say. But what I've heard from today from Barbie and from Nala is that sometimes we give life to these people and we don't need to. Sometimes it just takes us clicking off the live and not entertaining it, letting them realize that no one's going to pay attention to what they have to say. No one's going to feed into that negativity. It's hard to do because the natural advocates that we are, we want to speak up. We want to say something, but sometimes we don't have to. Sometimes it's just a matter of clicking off, clicking exit, and just saying, not today. Not today. We're not going to deal with that energy. We're just going to let it go. But
but
sometimes you got to educate
sometimes
somebody.
you
You
got
got to.
time. Sometimes you gotta have time. I had time. You gotta have time sometimes.
I had time today. I'm not gonna lie. I had time today. I think I had time when I was in Walmart and I realized how angry I was getting. And sometimes we do have to reach out, and sometimes we, as advocates, we do want to educate. But then there's a fine line between educating somebody who wants to remain ignorant and educating somebody that actually wants to learn. And for the people that were, like it wasn't a lot of people that were on this live that were excusing Andre, but I've seen the post on Facebook. I've scrolled down the post of Andre's only been around Femme Queens. It's crap. It's bullshit. We've been to House Live Matter events. Andre has been there. He's seen trans women in the environments where trans women are speaking up. They're making change. They're doing things. That is just ignorance in itself. You can't cure ignorance. You can only attempt to. And if it doesn't work, you let it go and you move the fuck on. It is what it is. But with that being said, I want trans women to understand something. You are loved. You are valuable. I'm not going to invalidate you. Trans women are women. There's no reason for people to put down an entire group because of ignorance, but it happens.
Yeah.
So it is frustrating because you really wish that you could live in a world where everybody's understanding and people get it. It's sad when you're in a community where the oppressed oppress others. It's ridiculous.
It's colonialism. It is what it is. It's like,
And I hate it.
yeah.
But I'm realizing that it is life.
Call them it's them colonizers, honey.
It's definitely the colonizers, But I applaud you. I love you.
I love you
I
too.
love you. I love you so much. I
Well,
love the things
we
that you
see you
do.
and we uplift you as well. I appreciate you for affirming. A lot of times it just takes that in Ashe. It just takes that, just them words like that right there. I see it sometimes. Like somebody told me the other day we were at a conference. They were talking about my private self and my Facebook self are two different people, right? And sometimes the things that I know that I might need to say that might be too much, I just keep them to myself and deal with it how I'm gonna deal with it, and have those conversations with who I need to have them with, right? And I'm
Right.
moving those to certain spaces that I know that what I may say can be triggering to other people. What I did learn from this is that this is the way that if one person thinks a certain way, then many others probably think the same way, right?
Indeed.
Within that same social group, that a lot of other people probably think the same way about me and may not have the courage to say what they think. So that's why I didn't mind. I didn't mind bringing Andre on and kind of just saying like I appreciate your honesty and however you feel. Now, I'm not here to necessarily change your mind. I'm here to educate you and give you the facts and let you make the educated decision what you need to do. But I'm also going to let you know that what you're saying may be hurtful to people. And this, I'm going to say that to you. But I'm a person who believes in the freedom of speech. I believe in your First Amendment rights. I believe you should be able to say what you want. I don't give a fuck what Trump and the Republicans say whatever they want. I don't care about all that kind of stuff. People could be stand outside protesting anti-gay. I mean, I don't care. I don't care about all that. What I care about is when people start to do shit that is like, you know, coming and having nooses and all this kind of crazy shit that's extremely triggering.
So my question is this now, because although this is not just a ballroom issue, this is also reality, society. But now, from a ballroom perspective, when you have someone who is a pioneer, an icon in ballroom, and they think this way, think about the trans women that are in that house and how they're affected and how they feel. What are we going to do moving forward? Because this is someone who is in the community, in ballroom. Are we going to sweep this under the rug and we all talked about it today and then tomorrow is gone? Or are we going to unite, move forward, and make sure that this violent rhetoric isn't repeated continuously? This is what we need to do now.
I've got to interject 1 second. I'm a believer in accountability, but we also have to remember, if we're going to be accountable, we have to be accountable. People can't apologize or change the things that they don't see that are wrong.
Oh,
so
of course.
It's like, how can you get someone, like, if somebody doesn't see what they're doing is wrong or whatever, or don't understand the basis behind it or the origins of it, it's hard to make someone change their thought process. But it's just like, and if that's the case, we got to also be mindful of correcting everything. So when bitches got balls fighting and slapping people and doing this crazy shit that people do, right? They need to be in trouble too. You can't just pick one person because they said something and say, oh, they gotta go. And
that's what I'm saying. We gotta get everybody accountability.
But don't counsel the hyper machismo behavior, right? That hyper machismo wanting to fight behavior, that is what creates a lot of the environment for the murders of our trans women, right? That hyper intensive masculine raw that is what gets people burned in cars and their arms tied behind their back. Like, if we're not addressing that, then we can't just address Andre. We have to address all that.
Oh yeah, because all of that feeds into it. Like, this is not Andre's first time saying it, and he's not the only one to have said it. But what I noticed was that it became a topic of conversation because of who Andre is and because of the platform. The problem is, he's not, like you said, he's not the only one that thinks this way. This is not, this is definitely not he's not the only one that thinks this way.
You gotta think about it. If somebody's from a particular generation or a particular whatever, like, that means a lot of people from your space or whatever that have been around you, they think like you. So a lot of people think the same way. And it's like, I'm not here to debate how somebody, I'm not here to debate how somebody thinks or views the world. I'm definitely here to worry about how you treat people, right? And I think ballroom has been problematic, and also in kind of how he's talking about, you know, you look like an ape and going to the women's bathroom, because there's this thing within where you're in a scene that the scene has this group of women that are in the scene, and the only thing that you do with this group of women is judge them, right? You don't involve yourself in their affairs. You don't know what they do outside. You don't know their humanity. You don't know all the stuff that goes on. So we need a culture shift. All these things that go on in this space, it's all about judging the person, right? How they look, how real they are, these things. And so you put that in your thought process when you see this group of people, like, oh, this one should use the bathroom because that looks like a man, or this is a drag, all that kind of crazy stuff. Like, you know, it is that thought process, that westernized thought process of like beauty and real, all that shit. I just be tired of. Like I always tell people, I hate realness and balls. That shit. At House Lives Matter, on multiple occasions at House Lives Matter, I've mentioned we need to do away with some of that shit and maybe change it into something else, like let it be what it is, but maybe progress it in some way. Because I don't get, like, wait, I ain't hear about the pedophiles part. Oh, see,
no, he said that. He did and that was one of the things I touched on in my live. What he did was he equated trans women who aren't women, as he said, being in women restrooms around little children, his nieces and his daughters, men in wigs coming in the bathroom.
First of all,
he gave everything.
First of all, the first thing that they ever equate with being a pedophile is a gay man. Okay, everybody know that.
Same thing.
Don't you go around Uncle Tom. Everybody knows that. That's the first thing they ever equate. And all the pedophiles that I know in this scene, a lot of them that have been have all been gay men. So we're not going to do that. But that's again, here we go, the problem. That stems back to the problem of this shit around distractions. Because all this is a distraction. That
Right.
from shit was a distraction. That's how Trump and all that shit was distraction, right? Against the real issue. That's distractions. And it's like, when have you ever heard about when have you ever heard about a woman getting raped by somebody dressed like a woman in a bed? Nobody's ever heard of that. But you've heard about a trans woman getting fucked up in a men's bathroom. And you damn sure heard about a trans man getting attacked. Like you've heard about these incidences occurring in spaces. I have not looked at one. I went through all judicial case searches. I went through everywhere. I have not seen one incident of a person who was dressed up, if they like to call dressed up, a dress up,
Right.
in a bathroom attacking somebody. I've never heard of that.
You won't hear about it because that is a fear that's a fear that society has created based off of the ignorance and the lack of understanding for something they will never really pay attention to learn about. They're not going to learn about it. And that rhetoric that he repeated is just violent in its nature. And this is why I said, again, I understand accountability. And I understand, if we're going to go after one person, we have to go after everyone. But this is my question, and I've seen the question posted in the Ballroom Clips and Dips groups while we're live. The question is, this is a man who sits on panels. This is a man who judges the realness category. This is a man who has exposure to other girls. So now what are we going to do about a man who made this violent rhetoric that he put online about the girls? What are we going to do about it? Because that is something you can do about it.
What's going to be done? You ready? You want to know what's going to be done?
Let's go.
Not a goddamn thing. The same way when I asked all the girls to get together and I said, let's not go to the balls that time, and everybody still went. It's the same thing because we don't know how to just really get together and protest. Like, we don't know how to do that shit. Like today, prime example, when Trump ass just came into Baltimore, and he said that shit about our city, about the rats and like crazy. But you see, the white people got together. And made that big ass rat. But see, he wasn't talking about them. He was really talking about those inner city black, because it's a majority black city. He was talking about black people that live here, and the Mexicans and the black people that live here, right? But nobody knows how to get together and mobilize, because again, distractions. It's about this. See, this becomes stuff like it becomes a distraction. What I do appreciate in this distraction, right, is that we were able to kind of come together, right? Come together in this space and have these kind of dialogues that we need to have. But all that shit is BX. When I say that should be distractions, it takes away, like, even the shit where I don't even want to say that person's name on my live, but the person's been on the media lately, and
right,
attracted. All that is distractions, because you want to tell words about language, but bitch, you didn't push off a narrative about a man that was, again, it went to the man being victimized, right? It still had a male, like a cis male, like situation where they were victimized, right?
Cisplaining, isn't that what they call it?
It was
mansplaining.
But the trans woman, just like I went to yesterday, I did the live, and I went outside and I told her, I said, listen, when a trans woman calls the police and she's the victim, she ends up becoming the suspect. And no sooner than I said that, I rolled past, and my girlfriend was outside, and I saw the police, and I pulled my car over to get out the car, and I was going to show my, talk to them, because I'm an advisor, I was going to talk to them, but she told me that she called them herself. But when a trans woman calls the police, she becomes a suspect instantly. Okay? Yeah. Period. She becomes fucked up, beat by her boyfriend, face black and blue. They asking, well, what did you do? Why y'all in here? What y'all was in here?
Right, the wrong question.
Sweetie,
why not ask what happened? Why not happen? Ask what happened? Are you okay? Like,
that child got things.
But that's a whole nother conversation. But like I said, hey, I'm not here to take up too much space. I just wanted to come on and say the little bit that I had to say. I know you got a lot of other girls that got to get on here. I'm really just trying to hear them. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a back seat. Continue to listen to the live. I love you all. I love you. Hope to see you soon.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and jump up off here.
Love you, Chastity. I can't ask you for whatever reason, Chastity. Your thing has no. You don't have a thing on here. Like, okay, like your thing, Chastity, doesn't have a ad. Like, I can't just. So like certain people have ads next to their names, right? And I can add them. And it also says accept requests from viewers. You would have to send me a request because it's not going to allow me to add you. And I want to add you and Lala, but fuck. Siren, again, I thank you for the solidarity and saying, again, that's very important. We need to stand in solidarity, period. And we need to celebrate each other, uplift each other, period. We in the struggle together. And we can't allow that same patriarchy that exists in outside spaces to come within this space and take over and control us, right? Because we got to deal with that shit when we back out there. I cannot add you, and it's driving me fucking nuts. Oh my god, what do I do? Can you send me the request, Chastity, please? Thank you. Okay, Lala sent one. Okay, got Lala. Yeah, you might have to exit and come back in, Chastity.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Now
Let me get my phone together. I'm gonna put everybody.
my phone earlier today. You said, sis, make sure you warn those bitches with iPhones and have on the earpiece. And she didn't have her earpiece on. But thank you, Barbie West.
Hello.
Oh.
You know, I was reading about headphones earlier today before you got on here, so I got my stuff together.
Okay.
Hi Trinity. So we had a conversation earlier. So I feel like Nala touched on a lot of things that I wanted to talk about. But I think one piece that I haven't heard touched upon is like what me and you talked about earlier when I seen you in DC is like a lot of us, not us as Black people, let's start there first. You were born into a construct that you never consented to. When you came out of your parents, when your parents came into this world, they were already consented to all these laws, right? All these standards of what it was to be Black. So here you come along as a Black person, right? And so the Black people are like, you know, if you're a girl, you got to be a girl. You got to, you gotta watch her. She's going to be fast. If you're a guy, you got to be hard on him. He can't be soft. Men can't cry. Men can't do these things. Soon as something happens where they say, you have the elders going like this about certain kids, then they want to, the reaction in the Black culture is to beat it out of them.
Right.
Right? So beat the gay away. They're too feminine. They can play football. All these things that happen. And yet a trans woman still does what she has to do. And she has no choice but to leave and evolve. And then she goes across the street to what is this LGBT acronym that, again, none of us consented to. But yet in this bubble, when you're under the T, they still tell you, you can't sit here. You got to go across the street with the drag queens, cross-dressers, transvestite, non-binaries, trans women, trans men. And when you go up under that umbrella, everyone's supposed to get along. Everyone on the outside has so much to say about how we're supposed to
and you
act,
gotta act
what
like
we're
the
supposed to do.
gender.
Yes, all these constructs that yet again didn't none of us consent to, and did none of us make any say so of like, this is who I am. What is a part of us just being who we are? I'm just Lala. You know what I'm saying? For a lot of times when people just say that, I don't have no pronouns. My pronouns is Lala. This is who I am. So if you want to know who I am, get to know me. I can't tell you how it is to be Londyn, Chastity, Simon, who was just on here, but I can tell you how to be a human being. I can tell you how to love. I can tell you how to be resourceful. I can tell you how to be kind. I can help you find a spirit. There's so many other attributes over me other than this, that T that I didn't consent to have over my head. And so a lot of people don't want to talk about it, but I used to love Monique and Mo because Monique, I love her because she's a realist.
My cousin.
Yes, a realist, because when I first came out in Detroit, Michigan, honey, we just wanted to be girls.
Come on.
That was it. I aspired to be my mother and my sister. When I was engaging in sex work, we used the word TS because that was a word that we used when we were working, so guys would know that we were not cisgendered women, so that it would be no problem. But after we got off the block, then a boy come up to me, hey, that's TS so-and-so. Girl, I ain't no TS. I got 3 kids at home. Bro, I ain't with that.
Right.
It was very clear. I really believe that all these labels enforcing this T on people all the time is confusing. You know, I feel like the trans narrative has worked hard enough, and so now we're adding non-binary to that, and they're trying to make it seem like trans and non-binary are the same thing. And it's like, no, non-binaries have their own place in the movement. Non-binaries need to do their own data to collect about their disparities, just as trans men do the same thing. We are in the same whatever experience, but even as a trans woman who identifies as a binary woman, I don't, you know, my needs, my wants, my desires are different, just like women. If all cis women get in the room, their needs and wants and desires are different. Why are trans women and why are men pointing fingers, dictating what is and what is and what is not? Because if it was cis men that started a movement to say that all gay men ain't men and that you can't say you a man no more, it would be an uproar. Because black men can also exclude things too if you want to go there.
Mm-hmm. Look how they doing
it's
it.
about exactly. So it's about us getting to the root of us just being who we are as a people, and that people in the LGBT movement, you have no right to even try to dissect and do all these things, because when you go across the street, the cis hetero folks, they look at us all the same. No matter what you try to say about it, honey, they
Like,
also think all you gay men
your
want to
faggy
put on a
friend, your
dress
faggy
and
friend.
eventually is going to transition. And that's what the reality is.
I was called a
So it's like
faggy
a
friend the
power.
other day.
It's like I say all the time. It's like oppression Olympics. Yeah, people, you talk about trans women too much. Trans men, we're visible. We don't get seen. The non-binaries, you don't respect my pronouns. The gay people, it's just all these separate things. But you also got to remember, in the beginning of the construct, it was trans folks who liberated us. But yet we create the same construct of patriarchy, classism, and capitalism to control feminine bodies,
Right.
feminine beings. It was a period where you as a gay man being fat and femme was frowned upon. Now you can't keep a butch queen on some bundles in the hair, and it's okay. So that means that we've evolved. So when can we evolve with trans women that we are just who we say we are, and we all have the right to identify how we are? If Londyn feels like, I don't mind being called a TS, and I say I want to be respected as a woman, does not mean me and Londyn are in competition with each other. That is just where she's at on her journey.
Right.
And I think that they want to package something and control something that you cannot control, because if everyone learns themselves, comes into their own body, come into financial and economic liberation to be transition more to your happiness, your end of the journey is your end of the journey.
Right.
No one control that. And like Monique says all the time, your confidence plays a factor. I might not be the realest of the realest, but when I'm in these streets, I don't have no problems. You know why? Because I know how to blend in where I'm at. I know if I'm gonna go through the Bronx, I'm not about to wear no hook or hole dress going through the Bronx. I'm gonna give you very fucking banjo cut to get through. You have to know your surrounding. Being a trans person is like being a chameleon. Chameleons automatically adapt to any environment that you have, and that separates women, trans women, from folks playing. Because if you can't adapt, every so many young girls, I'm like, girl, what you doing across the street?
But let's talk about, that's another topic. Let me say something.
Go ahead.
Everybody acts like they want, again, everybody be so scared, they're going to get counseled, right? And especially like when you have people like myself and Lala, like, Lala will ACLU, and whenever you have a voice and you're in advocacy within the trans community, it's like you are not allowed to address your concerns around, things like people's around transition, because my thing is,
People do that to me
get
too.
so mad. I can't stand it. Like, you see that I'm on live, so why would
exactly
you
no respect, honey?
I don't get shit like that. I don't get it. So anyway, which will throw my whole phone call off. So anyway, I hate that thing where we can't say what we want to say, and ask her, because I have questions around why is it that trans like people, you got these people that go dress up in a hotel room, right, with a wig on. And or you got these people that all of a sudden, because again, it's all about how people identify. But sometimes I question like people's like motives in their transition, because it dilutes and it starts to, like, I don't know, it just makes the movement, like when you get this inflation, it's like an inflation, right? There's inflation in the movement. Like, so like prime example, now you got all these people going to get these surgeries, right? You got Medicaid and Medicare, which I'm glad it exists. I'm glad it's here. But a lot of these doctors are so busy, they're just as bad. They are just trying to let people, like, do things that don't understand the difference between gender expression and gender identity. They don't understand any of that, and because they've not been trained. And so
and that was one of the things that I advocated for when I was working. I did these forums across New York City. I advocated, we don't care. I don't care about getting surgeries, right? if it ain't comprehensive and the doctor is not, if I can't close my eyes and let that doctor put me under anesthesia confidently, that is a problem. That we are impacted more than just surgeries. We have diabetes. Are y'all girls getting your breast exams for breast
we're more than
cancer?
HIV and AIDS.
Exactly.
We're
Are
more
you
than
getting?
HIV and
It's
AIDS.
comprehensive all the way around healthcare.
Right.
And is my doctor in tune to all of those things?
Right.
And I get what you're saying, Londyn. And I feel like those people will weed out when they weed out. I feel like some people are very Malcolm about the situation, and some people are very Malcolm X. And I feel like my journey is my journey. If I got 3-5 girls that have my same mindset, that's fine. But long as I'm coming to the larger table, I'm able to look at the good, common good. I'm not worried about your pronouns. I'm not worried about you want to be called tranny. I'm not worried about any of that. Long as when I come to this table, I ain't getting killed in the streets. I can do what I want in life, and I have respect and dignity.
Right.
I'm not co-signing because I'm in the movement that I just going to agree with everything trans. I'm not.
That's what is so fearful.
So much plays into who I am. I am black.
So fast.
I am black. I come from a low-income family. I grew up on church values. My mother is Church of God in Christ pastor. I have so many other things that own and make up who I am.
Right.
How I grew up, how I was raised, the schools I went to. All that plays a part of who you are, and that's not just you being trans.
Right.
And when the girls get in touch with themselves, so I feel like you should pump your brake on some of them surgeries first.
Right. Let me tell you something.
And get to know you.
Okay.
Get to know you, because some of you girls, we will tell you, oh, girl, go get your surgery. You get it when it's your time. Some of you girls get these surgeries and more violence come to you because now you're more visible. When before, you was a cute little girl coming through the hood, nobody got it. But with the more visibility and the more horrible videos that go viral,
let me tell you something.
That harms your safety.
Yeah, but let me
there are so many times and places I'll be able to get through. Now people always ask me questions. I'm like, looking in the mirror, like, what's going on? No, it's because it's on TV too much.
Yes.
So now they know what to look for.
They know.
Now they know what to look for.
I got done. Okay. Oh, bitch, I done laid on. I ain't never used to say no when I would go get something done. I used to keep it to myself. My girlfriend used to be like, oh, bitch, I know this. I don't know what you're talking about. You know, I never used to talk about it because that was just, I wanted to see, my dysphoria made me, I just wanted to be happy with what I seen. I ain't give a fuck what nobody else seen. I wanted to see. And so that's another thing. When I was just convening at USPIP and I was talking, I was like, listen, y'all doctors have a responsibility, and those people have informed consent. You know, you have to be mindful that people's circumstances, when you are allowing someone who's only means they're on Medicaid, that means you don't have that means you're below the poverty level. Like if you're on Medicaid, you are below the poverty level. Like let's just keep it. Like I have insurance and it's still gonna cover me getting surgery. The difference is everything I do, I still have to pay a copay. Like
trust me. Yes, and the copays ain't cheap.
Ain't cheap. Look,
so part of the reason is if I gotta pay for a surgery, if I gotta pay a copay for these free surgeries, I might as well keep that copay money and keep saving and go pay cash all the way.
My copay is
$7.
Hello, my copay is because. But listen, so people feel like because it's free to them, right? And there's always.
But Londyn, didn't our mothers always tell us everything? The best thing in life ain't free.
You listen.
There's always a cost.
Sis,
half of y'all girls was experiments.
Sis, let me tell you something.
Everything.
Let me tell you something.
Okay.
I have watched several people. Okay, it was they weren't even drag queens. I don't know. They weren't even in the stage. You know, you go drag. They didn't go. It was no phase. It was no. They didn't. They just instantly went to the doctor, and this was it, right? And I just caution people because listen, if you are below the poverty level, right, you're not making any money, and you were doing sex work where you was fully functional, right? Now you go from being fully functional that you done got either cancer or something, your balls, you ain't dead, you can't get hard. You got to think about all the things that go around that's going to change for you. So there has to be a support system set up for you to leave out. And I don't think a lot of people are caring about the support system like some of these doctors are.
Exactly, Nikki.
And they're not investigating when they're doing these facial surgeries. Bitch, there's no way. People are coming in with these unrealistic expectations, like the plastic surgery we were talking about. They're coming in with these real unrealistic expectations. And I was like, I told the doctor when I was doing a consult with him, I said, tell them to start bringing pictures of their mothers and their sisters in. Like,
see, also that was my thing too, right? So another reason why I took my time, I feel like people have all these ideas of what they want me to do. I'm gonna do what I want to do when it's Lala's time. Because at the end of the day, a surgery don't make or break my womanhood. Because everybody says I look like my mother. When I'm around my family, when I'm in the world, I get screwed like everyone else. But for the most part, I blend in with my family, right? And my mother always said, I don't want you coming home so we take the family picture and the whole family look like, who the hell is that? Yeah. You know, I still wanted features of my mom and my family because that's where I came from. Because my story wasn't a throwaway. My mom affirmed me and I transitioned at 15. My mother loves the skin off of me. My siblings love me. My church I grew up in still loves me. So my narrative is different. So I'm not trying to hide or run from my bloodline. I just want to do certain things that is going to help my dysphoria that I have. But I ain't trying to have a whole face-off situation. I see what's up. Oh, girl, she got facial feminine to do nothing. No, she wanted to look more feminine in where the areas that she wanted. The surgery was for her, not to please you.
But people need to also understand.
And if you do it because you think you're gonna hit that floor and go like that, and they're gonna praise you, you're gonna gag. How many girls have done this and now they're depressed and miserable?
Can't remove it. Can't
remove it, and now you torture the rest of your life, because you wanted to do it for the wrong reason.
Mm-hmm. You didn't want to do research.
I feel like back in the day when I was coming up, I'm 41. There was a time period, and I guess because we didn't have access to it. But for me, I didn't look at other femme queens, even though it was beautiful femme queens in Detroit. My trans mother is very beautiful. But I liked to watch my sister because my sister was a hustler. I used to like how she used to talk her swag to the dope boys. I watched my mother, how my mother walk in spaces. Those are people that I watch, cis women, for their confidence and their swag. I couldn't get it from other trans women because I got the hustle part from them, how they made their money hustling. But I wanted to watch other cis women because that's the world I wanted to blend into. And for folks who don't want to, I affirm that as well. But also, you don't get to judge and tell me because I'm trans, I got to go to my grocery store every day. Like I use this analogy. When your best friend who's gay, he goes to the store with you or go to Macy's, he don't come in Macy's, they say, oh, that's Alex the gay. But as soon as you come in Macy's, oh, yes, honey, hey, diva, cis girls try you. Hey, diva, that's the code word I know.
You look better than me.
Yeah, that's the code word I know. Yeah, you look better than me. Oh, I like your hair. Oh, yes, or the Butch Queen. Oh, yeah, that's my girlfriend. Ain't she sickening? She's one of the girls. Like, you're outing me. That's my safety. Don't no one get to out me but myself. When I choose to go to a step with somebody sexually, that's between me and that person. I don't have to walk into a space with a T on my head and acknowledge I'm trans everywhere I go, and none of y'all have the right to tell me that I have to do that, because you gay people don't do that, and you lesbians don't do that, and you broken down niggas that fuckers don't do that. You don't come and say, hey, I got 4 baby mamas and I got a dick that don't work. When you meet me, you don't tell me you got bad credit, you're gonna steal my motherfucking laptop, and you're gonna steal my motherfucking car keys. So if you ain't gotta tell all who you is, bitch, don't expect me to do the motherfucking same. It's for my safety. You will know when I feel you're supposed to know, period. And I don't care what none of y'all girls or boys or they or them have to say. That's how I live my life. Because I got to live this at the end of the day. And I'm going to get off of here so you can get the next person. I love you, Londyn. What, sis? I'm just saying because I'm tired. And people think because you're an advocate or something that you're supposed to live by these rules. No, at the end of the day, I go home. I got to take this advocacy off. And I got to live in my neighborhood. I got to walk in these streets. I don't have no car or no bodyguard like the rest of these Hollywood girls. I still take the train. So I'm not about to come on the train and say, hi, I'm Lala the Trans. Hell no. I'm going to sit like cunt and pay it. And if you ask me something, I was on a train a while ago, and the girl was trying to clock me. And the boyfriend touched her and said, why is that your business? Leave it alone. Because if it is, she go off on you, I ain't want no parts of that. Because they don't play. Yeah, girl. Yeah, they be trying it. And so it's like, I feel like I don't have to wear that. And anybody who says that we have to, I am telling you as a leader that's been in this movement for a while, we're gonna stop that narrative. And you Butch Queen, stop that narrative, because if that's the case, every time I see y'all, I want y'all to come into the mall and say, hi, I'm so-and-so the gay. I want you to go in every space, do an experiment, and do it every day, and watch how people treat you and watch how the respect factor change. You would not say that me telling my truth is a safety net for me. As soon as you tell somebody, they immediately change. They immediately change their energy, their aura.
Can I get some of that head? Can I get some head? Oh, bitch, soon as I tell them, oh, can I get some head?
Yes.
Oh, damn, 1 minute you want to take me to the movies.
They just said they was gonna take you to the movies. They
Now you
clock
got some
it.
head.
You getting dick pics. You want some head, or you that? I want a munch. I'm curious. We're gonna be real.
That's the boy just texted me. That's the boy just texted me yesterday. Can I buy him some shoes?
Oh yes, I'm trying to get this job. My phone bill off because you like give me $15 or the infamous thing in New York City. I'm gonna come all the way over there, but I need a swipe. And I always tell them, well, baby, you need to save that swipe to find a job. Coming over here ain't what you need to be doing. That me and you chilling is the last thing. You need to save that swipe to get you a job, boo.
Bitch, I will.
Of course you want to come to my home. I worked a 9-to-5 job. I live in Manhattan. These are not things to brag. These are things I did because I want to be safe. So of course you want to come up in my shit.
Brianna, bitch, I'm about to throw my phone out the
You
window.
living with your mama. You living in your grandma's basement. You can't have no company. I'm 41. I ain't got time for none of that shit. I'm not settling for nobody. And I'm not alone. Don't think because you ain't got no nigga that you lonely. My life is very fulfilling. Very fulfilling. And when I want to get my rocks off, trust me, I do. And I can send the motherfuckers on their way. But I ain't wifing up nobody or playing wife with nobody who can add to my motherfucking life.
And it's
I do a lot. So if you can't match my fly, why the fuck you here? I don't do the Build-A-Bear shit. I grew out of that years ago. Girls get out that Build-A-Bear bullshit, honey. You gonna build the bear, he gonna leave your ass to go right to a cis woman. Or leave you for a fucking bunny, or fuck your girlfriend. You build him up for the next girl. Stop the Build-A-Bear complex. Break that demon today. You are enough. Stand for something or fall for anything. And I'm out of here, girl. I gotta go.
Lala.
I love you. I love you.
Lala.
I love you.
What about this narrative?
And it's the truth. And I'm saying it from a place of love. And I'm going to be real with you because as my trans experience, I've made some mistakes along the way. We all have. Someone said I like be perfect. Yes, I've had my Build-A-Bear a couple moments. But today where I'm at, when I got this career and I've seen all the things I've done.
Listen, we were neighbors. So
you know, we used to cook and everything.
We know what the girls, all the drama. Listen, and this narrative,
you have to grow out of that. And so us as leaders and us as other trans women have to be honest about our experiences and stop saying that it's fly and it's not. And when you see a little young girl, you know that nigga ain't no good for her. You gonna pull her to the side, even if she push away. Let her know something. Don't let somebody just go with somebody you know that mean her no good.
And you know that they ain't right.
You know they're not right. You have a duty and a responsibility. And if you don't believe it, I don't care what you believe in. When you leave this earth, we're all going to have to answer to everything. So all of y'all trying to pass the buck to say you didn't know or this person did this person did this, the credit going to look you in the eyes and say, they're in the line over there. I'm addressing you and what you did.
And listen, and you talk about this accountability, like when they were talking about Mariah, they were talking about, who outside and this and girls outside the store. Bitch, y'all knew how old the girls is just as bad because you knew how old that girl was that was standing right next to you in the store. And bitch, she was 27 years old and you knew that girl was 13 years old out there with you. You just as bad as the man.
Right. Okay. Okay. And I'm going to get out of here after this. I'm glad you brought that up because I wasn't going to go there. But for all my girls who were real sex workers, not these new age ones when they had the ones that really worked the track, put the ad in the newspaper. That era of girls. Honestly knew every man on that block. Yes. Everybody on that block, they didn't want no old dick or pussy. They were told they wanted young. Half of you girls, your ads are saying you was 21 and you was 40. Let's stop playing.
I'm gonna throw my phone out the window.
Stop playing. I got in the game at 15. I was 16 all the way till I was like 21. The game was to look young.
Girl.
And I told the clients my age, and they paid it. Paid it. So we going to stop acting. You real sex workers out here, we going to stop acting. Like they gave a fuck when you told your age. Or they even, come on. They would tell you, you too old. How old is she? Go get her. She look young. We going to stop playing. We're going to stop playing around here. Young was the game.
And they read us. One thing about a tranny chaser, bitch, as a girl you an old man. You an old drag.
Old washed up.
Bitch,
nobody want to know old.
I don't give a fuck how young I look. A man has told me I was old so many times in a conversation that all that fucking age. Again, here we go back to patriarchy.
Yeah.
Because it's okay for men to get older. But it's not okay for women to get older. Right? So we go back to that shit again. right? How dare you try to push that shit on me? Oh, you look, girl.
And you look busted with some dirty ass shoes, waiting on the block all night, hoping and praying one of the girls take your dusty ass home for the night so you can text your homeboy phone and tell you everything that he got in your house. And you wake up, oh my gosh, he took my iMac. Oh my gosh, you should have put that shit up when you brought dirty drinks home, straight home. Why are we teaching girls to, we're going to go there. Why are we teaching the girls to bring people in your home so motherfucking fast? I don't play those games. No, honey, you gonna take me out in public somewhere. No, you wanna go get a motherfucking room. You ain't coming up in my house. I worked hard for this. You gotta earn a spot to come where I lay my motherfucking head.
Girl.
Who are you? All you got is dick and problems. And you wanna come up in my shit? No, you better take your broke ass and get a room.
Because we be reduced down to being sexual.
Fuck you mean?
We be reduced down to being sexual beings. That's what we get reduced to, being sexual beings, girl. And it's like we start to believe it ourselves.
Right.
Because girl, and Brianna said stole your wigs. Let me tell you something, bitch. I got a better one for y'all. Are y'all ready to fall out? You come in the bathroom and Trey is down on his hands and knees and got your fleet out. Your fleet.
You know what?
Your fleet.
Child.
He got me on his hands and knees in the bathroom and he opened the door using your fleet.
And then stole your panties on the side because when he get done dishing, he gonna put your panties on.
Listen, Trey stole my mom. Listen to this. A boyfriend stole my moms. And try to use them to get another girl with my mom. Go call her baby Londyn. Kept saying, this baby Londyn, she look like she could be your little sister. I'm gonna get her. I said, well, what is that about? What were you giving? Why were you taking my mom?
Yes. And for y'all to think that these so-called quote unquote transportation that they don't talk to each other, that they ain't got no secret groups on Facebook
and read
talking about the girls, how you can get the girl, how her house look, all kind of things.
I know so much about other trans girls because of boys telling me.
Because of boys, they messier than the girls. Not the witch queen, the ones that deal with trans women, messier than anybody else. They know everything. Oh, I know her. How you know her? You know, because I used to live with my daughter. You know my daughter. You met my daughter. So the test would be, Chloe. The test would be, no, bitch, bring them through here. Because I want to see. So we would bring them through there and they'd be like, oh, it's two of y'all. We going to have a threesome. Oh, no, baby, you about to go out the motherfucking door. This is the test, bitch. And you failed. You failed the test, darling. Or if one was texting my phone and texting her phone, we would say, girl, bring them over here. Give them a fake address. We sit outside. We smoking a blunt. Oh, hey, how are you? Yeah, what you thought this was, bitch? This is my daughter, bitch. Not over here. Bye-bye.
Yes, God. Yes, God.
What you mean?
They get so, these boys are, or doing like I told you, like the boys did to me, taking and sending videos of me.
Yeah,
other people. Me, clout chasing to another girl, waiting for her to read. And see, and with the sad but listen, the sad part in that story is that there are some little girls, but other girls, it's just like sharks. You know, because we've been taught as trans women that you know, we gotta fight over that particular man because that's right. So we want to.
No, exactly.
Listen,
I remember you can get with your girlfriends. This is my thing with my girlfriends. We would get together and we would go through our phones and laugh on all the little, sites back then. Girl, you talking to him too? And it would be a different story. And we, he told you he was this. Oh, he was and then. Nowadays, it's she talking to him. Londyn came over here with him. Girl, I'm about to go let her know I can have him real quick. Let me slide in his DM and show him this piece of this Lily real quick.
Right.
She a sex change. Oh, let me go show him a piece of this Lily and let her know how much her sex change ain't gonna mean nothing.
Right.
We gotta stop being cruel to each other and build real sisterhood. I am blessed to say that the people that I call my sisters are my sisters. I'm very clear on who I use that sister card. If I call you sus, that means that's some community shit. But if you're my sister, that means you have talked to my mother. You know about my mother. You know about where I grew up, and I know about where you grew up. You know my favorite color. You know my pet peeves. We argue and fight and cuss each other out the next day and see each other like, hey, bitch, you're still in your feelings. That is what sisterhood is.
Yeah.
We forgot what real sisterhood is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we forgot.
I can't get she not hey put it
okay, I'm gonna go, but I love you. Bring your song.
Y'all, we didn't listen. We didn't went from 400 something people here. We didn't brought them. We didn't hear feelings. Ashley.
Yeah, we gotta get some more people. Get Ashley on here.
Oh my
All
God.
right.
Wait. Hey, come here, Ashley. I'm gonna add. Ashley, let me add you real quick. Hold on, cause I'm trying to tell you what happened. Cause you know my brother. Hold on. I'm trying to, and it will not do this. This is weird. This thing is stupid. I hate this shit. Hey, hold on, Ashley. Yeah, that shit is crazy. Like, really crazy. All this, we didn't talk about so many topics. Ashley, I added you. I pressed add. You got your earpiece on.
Girl.
Oh, good. Oh, you know you got to put the earpiece on, girl.
You can't hear me?
No, you know what? iPhones on FaceTime, one person got an earpiece on.
Oh, I broke my thing. I broke my port.
I'm not going to talk. I can't even mute the phone. When the phone is on Facebook, you can't mute it. So let me see how to do it. I'm not going to talk. Just talk. You know what's going on, right?
No.
Okay, so Andre, who's in the ballroom scene, an icon, Andre made some statements about trans women not being women, and that he was separating cis women and like saying they're on two different levels, or two different, they're different. He also made comments about trans women potentially being pedophiles in the bathroom with other persons, and that people who look like gorillas shouldn't be in the bathroom. Big gorillas shouldn't be in the bathroom.
Oh.
And it kind of in a nutshell was so much more though.
Yeah,
it's so much, girl. It's like, listen, we were talking about gender, we were talking about the thing with distractions, and just a lot of shit. So
yeah, it's just crazy. I don't know. It's really difficult when, more than anything, we need gay Black men to lift us up and to support us. And it's just so crazy lately that some of the first people to reach across the aisle are people who are supposed to be our brothers.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I don't know. You hear yourself in a you hear yourself.
Yeah.
It's reverberate. Just go ahead and you can still talk. It'll do it.
Yeah, it just seems, I don't know. That's why, quite honestly, when we talk about trans issues and people try to sweep us under the LGBTQ umbrella rug, I'm always quick to like make a clear distinction between that, because just because you're a gay man doesn't mean you can't be transphobic. It doesn't mean you can't be sexist. It doesn't mean you can't be racist when we're talking about the white gays. And it's one of those things where they need to realize that at the end of the day, it's all of us or none of us. Just like when Ed Buck had Jamel Moore up in that house and he died, and Timothy Dean, trans women were some of the loudest voices out there outside of Ed Buck's apartment, along with cis Black women asking for justice. So the thing is that we need to remember that our legacy and our history teaches us that Black trans women were on the front lines out there fighting for our rights, and we get down with the best of them.
In more ways than one.
Yeah, so it's, I don't know. These kids, now we just live in a culture where people just say all kinds of things over the internet because they feel like they can't be touched. And and it's one of those things where I'm just waiting for most of that to be ran to me like in person. So like I don't even pay attention sometimes to like what they're saying, but it's unfortunate because some of the younger ones who are still looking for the courage to find themselves and live authentically are seeing that. And in many cases, that's their only support system because they haven't crossed over to connect with us.
Right. Wow. So you just left the debate.
Yeah, I just came back from that.
Give us a quick.
Oh, they did the most.
You want to talk about Kamala?
They gathered her. That girl, that Black woman, her name was Lindsay Davis. That bitch was a trained assassin. She gathered Kamala from root to tip, to scalp, to foot, to back, to neck. I mean, Kaya lyrics. Got that bitch right together.
And I
She's the
didn't
police.
know.
You know that's the police. Camilla the police. She's the body police. She's a lot of police. Go ahead. Give us some examples.
There was just so much. It was just all over the place. Like literally, I'm still trying to process it all because they were reading. Like it was a ballroom scene read. They were reading across that stage. It was so crazy. And I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, my. Yeah, they gather her. When's she gonna get counsel? I'm waiting for her cancellation. You know they love to counsel everybody.
It's just crazy. It's like my mind is still reeling. It's been a long day, but they got me together. It was just too much.
Wow.
Yeah.
God, but you know, Congressional Black Caucus this weekend.
Oh, I know. I forgot who I talked to. They told me about it. They're trying to like get me to travel.
Come over. Come. I'm doing this. Why you still on this live? Girl, I wish you had your earpiece on so bad. Oh my God, I wish you had your earpiece on. Because it's echoing. It's like I can't really.
No, I hear the echo too. It's crazy. I don't even know. And plus, like, I didn't even know that I was going live. Like, I thought I was accepting a message, and then I looked and saw myself. I was like, oh.
No, but it was me. It was like Nala Toussaint, Lala. Mariah Lopez was on here. It was other people. Oh, Andre.
Yeah, it sounds like that echo is kind of crazy. I don't know. I just know that I don't have the plug.
I know. Well, I'm gonna formulate a bigger thing. I need to message you anyway because Hayes is trying to connect. When Hayes called me on the office day at work, he was trying to connect me with you for something. So I'm gonna message you.
Yeah.
And then thank you for all you do.
Have a good night.
Night. Chastity, do you have? Look, Caesar Wills is in the line. Oh, hey, Caesar Wills. Okay. Hey, y'all. All right. I'm trying to get. Where's Chastity, honey? Did I just lose her? I can't believe this thing on X. Why am I still on the live? Bitch, why are you on the live looking, nosy? Oh, Caesar. Why are you looking? Nosy. Caesar. I sent you an ad, Caesar. I just tried to add you. Caesar, you just sent me a request to add you. And then when I answered the request, you just sent me a request to add you. Why would you decline it? That's crazy. Okay. Well, I was trying to just add another person, but for whatever reason, you guys, like if people are... Hold on. I'm just trying to look at the ads. Hold on. Just give me 2 seconds. I'm looking at how the ads are coming in. Joe Button gonna be... Oh, yeah. Oh, please, if you ain't it, you can still get on here and chat. I wanted to hear your response to what was going on with that. Also, you guys, y'all heard Joe Button today on that show. He was coming to the ball. I fell out. He said I'm walking the ball is what he said. I fell out. But again, these ball spaces get taken over by people who are not part of the community. Hey, Shanice. Okay. I'm ready. Caesar, come on and get added on this thing. Chill. Caesar, chill. I would ask Shanice has to let me add her. Like it has to show up as an ad. Like your name has to show up in my LaCourte regime. I don't see her on here though. Hold on. I'm just trying to see who I can add. Like Shanice tried to sign off here when I said I was gonna add her. Oh no, she didn't. Hold on. Oh my God, so many names popping. Okay, Shanice. Hold on. Desiree. Hold on. Shanice. Okay. Shanice. Are you on here? Okay.
Hello.
You got.
Wait, hold on. Give me one moment.
You got an earpiece on.
Huh?
You gotta have an earpiece on.
Oh, I do. Wait. Okay, let me put my earpiece on.
Okay, perfect.
Girl, what's going on, Londyn, girl?
Girl, making it.
Wait. Huh?
Making it.
You making it, bitch. You doing it. You ain't making it. You
I'm
beyond that.
surviving. But listen, I think you would be a perfect person to talk about like your ideas about like kind of how I know. Did you hear about what happened with Andre?
Oh no, but I can break it down for you,
Yeah, because I know
sis.
you have your own.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Is it on?
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead. What happened? I didn't see the thing with Andre, but I'm hearing about it.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened?
See, it's like basically he did a video. He was just saying that he doesn't feel that it was like saying that the trans women are women, and he was saying that they're not women, or that they're. I mean, I think that he was probably trying to just say that there's a difference between cisgender women and trans women, but I think that it came off the wrong way because what he started to do was
So no, 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 no,
he
no, no,
started
no,
to
no.
direct
Because
it towards the body and all
no,
this
no,
other
no, no,
shit.
but no, but see, and this you can't make the assumption for him.
Now I'm not. That's why I just said. I think that's why
I
I
think
don't know.
right.
I couldn't get it from him. I don't know what he was doing. I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm just trying to be open minded. I don't know what his. Shut up. Shut up.
You don't know what happened?
So basically, in the video, he was just making his comments like that, and then he made a comment about girls in the bathroom that might could potentially rape a little girl or whatever that looked like an 8, somebody just dressing up going in the bathroom. Like problematic.
Well,
process.
Me and Kia was just on the phone talking about this, and what I was explaining to Kia is that you have them bad apples that makes that paints the picture completely horrible for everybody, and it's just about his personal experience that gave him the perspective that he has. And me personally, I don't believe, to be fair, it's just the way he felt is the way he felt, and we
Right.
all feel certain ways about we all feel certain ways about particular subjects or topics, and that's just the way it feels. I think the impact came out from just for who he is in ballroom. But and I was telling Kier, like, even when I came out or whatever, back then, this was like the early 90s or something like that, late 90s. Like back then, bitch, the Butch Queens, it's very selective Butch Queens that really, really use the femme girls.
Yeah.
Like it was very bitch, I'm just telling Kid, like, back then it's like the girls hung with the girls, like the pretty girls hung with the pretty girls, the real girls hang with the real girls, the label girls hung with the label girls. So like everyone has their cliques. And I think the difference in now is just everybody is social climb and everybody wants clout and everybody wants name. So it's just like it makes the whole community and situation really, really messy and very, very confusing. Right? You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I also think, I mean, and also it's just like I said, people got to always kind of like censor what they say and stuff. I just, the kind of thing about the ballroom scene that I used to like is that people was kind of raw with what they used to say, saying shit out their mouth sometimes, but you still got to be careful with it. But I don't know. People, it definitely has taken it. I know about that period, like different periods of times. Like it's definitely changed from when I first came out.
Yeah.
It's definitely not the same.
It's just like now everybody is just, everything is so sensitive. Like you can't say this or you can't say that without someone getting offended. But at the end of the day, like, and I'm just telling Kid, like, if you know who you are, if everything you know who you are, and if you're complete inside, and there's nothing outside of you that can take that away from you, so it's nothing that no one can really ever say to make you come out of courage or make you upset, because that's just what it is. It's somebody else's opinion. I think the problem is just when I know for me, and that it's I don't say a negative thing because there's nothing negative. It's a positive. It was a negative that I learned from that turned positive, and that was me in ballroom. What happened with that? What me in ballroom, and what I had to mature and take and make it work for me was that I always was seeking other people's approval.
Right. And other
And
love from other places.
And yeah, because basically that's what it was. Like you invest time, money, energy to participate in this amazing community and to be judged by your peers. And after doing that for so long, it's like
You know, you don't. It's like you don't even know who you are because everything you do, everything is always about what somebody else said, what somebody else do, and it's like the whole situation. Where I was looking at Reema's lives early, and Reema was basically saying, what Reema was saying. Reema was basically saying that, and I agree. What she don't like. We shouldn't care what other people say or what Butch Queen say or how a Butch Queen or anybody can tell us to be a woman. But it was just like me coming up. It's like that's who basically I was raised and took care by. Like the Butch Queens, like back then, like if they really fuck with you, they had you, and you had them ones that
They was
didn't.
in
And
your
one
shit.
thing, but one thing that I could take away what Andre said is that he was real about it. He was real about it, and then the worst part about that, and he was real about that. But and the catch-22 part is that you be around people and they feel that way, but they won't say it.
That's what I said just a minute ago. They be
They
right
and
to say it.
and they won't say it. And if you think about it, like anytime you get in an argument with a rich queen and you really
You're a
got them
boy.
heated,
You're a boy.
you are exactly that.
A boy.
But then at the same time, it's a catch-22 because soon one of us gets involved in a bush queen. What do we do? So it's
Fig,
all
karma fig.
it's exactly. So it's all abuse. It's all trauma. And what we do, we just keep inflicting it on one another. And when they say like the trans community, I think it has come a long way and it's doing a lot of great things. But as a whole, like the girls have to really start to stick together. When I was telling the kid earlier that when I was younger, like the girls are really stuck together. Like the trans girls stuck together. The trans girls are trans girls, and it was the the BQs with the BQs.
Right. Right. Girls gonna be secretive about this and that with it because it's all it's been put in the mind.
Shit,
Like
it's so hot.
about
It's so
competition. It's
yes,
an environment of competition.
yes,
Everything's a
yes,
competition.
yes. And it's like till something happens, then everybody wants to band. Till something happens and everyone wants to band together. Like it's so much division in trans community. But as soon as a trans girl get murdered, and everybody, oh, that's my sister. I love you. And it's like, no, bitch, don't do that. Don't do that. It's too much. You're either going to play your part right, or don't do it at all. All that switching up. 1 minute is this and 1 minute is that. It's a whole different understanding. All of us or none of us. Period. You're so right, Sean. So what's that?
Right.
Tyrone.
Right.
I'm sorry,
No,
but I obviously have to. Yes, and Shannon, that is so true. That is so true. The girls stayed, and again, that's just how it was. Like in DC, Steve was the mother. Steve was the mother of the dragons. And like the dragons is what was a DC thing. What they call the film girls. Like
yeah, we always talk about dragons.
the times has so changed.
Yes,
Like
we be
the
like the
butch queens are
wagon.
called the drag. Like with the butch queens, we used to call each other dragons, and it would
Yes,
be
dragon bitch.
nothing. And now you call the girl dragon, they get upset. You
We
like,
still do it, girl. We still be like,
yeah,
girl.
but could you imagine you call one of them? I ain't gonna say one of the ones, but one of them girls that's doing their thing, and they embracing their part, and you call them a dragon out of the key, bitch. It will be a whole situation.
Right. When I used to like, girl, where the wagons at? We used to call them wagons too. Where the wagons instead of
Yeah,
saying
and it was all out of love. It was all out of love, but at the end of the day, Andre's entitled to say what he wants. He's entitled to feel what he wants. And I can say that some people shouldn't take it personal or be offended by it because, again, I don't know what other people experience, what other people have experienced to make their perception the way and their feelings so strong to however they feel.
the
But
church and a lot of other things. All
the
shaped by
who?
that. I said a lot of stuff is shaped by the church. A lot of stuff is shaped by
Child, honey, yes. From my own experience, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Which you can speak to it.
Yeah, I definitely can. I definitely can. It's not something that I am I'm ashamed of. It's not something that I regret because it's all about a learning experience, and it's just life. Like life is about evolving. Life is about
Right.
always growing and being vulnerable and to accept situations and change when it happens. And I think that's the most important part. That's the most beautiful part about life and relationships and just everything. Always open to receive it and just embrace whatever comes with it. And
Right.
not take the shit personal, because it's really not personal. Nothing is really personal. Like, you take offense when it's not personal. But yeah. But then I never heard. So what's this thing about the Malik Yoba thing? Oh no, it wasn't you. It was
Let me tell you something. Their name don't come on this live. I don't fuck. Okay.
Really? Is it that bad?
Well, because my thing is that's a distraction to me, and I don't get caught up in the distraction. Like, even this is a distraction, and I just don't like to get caught up in some of that stuff. And my thing is, I just question people's motives, and I question the media outlets and the sources that give them the platform when you should give that platform to the people, or to the people that can speak on the murders of those that have recently been murdered, and the violence and the climate that creates those murders, right? And I just feel like
Right.
when you give space to that, it takes away the impact, and it makes me question the intent.
Yeah.
I just kind
Yeah.
of, and then that word trans attract, just all that stuff just had me so like, because I just like,
Yo. Go
listen,
ahead.
when I met boys, like, my thing is, I never was the type of girl like that want to go out and meet a boy and like they know I'm a trans. So I always like to meet boys that don't know T and then tell T, and that's it. You get what I'm saying? Like, I meet a boy,
Yeah.
tell T, and they like me. They just like me, and it is what it is, and they like me. They
Right.
like me. I don't like no boy to meet me and be like, oh, in his mind thinking I'm trans, because he thinks, see, automatically when somebody think you trans, they think you got a dick.
Right.
Or
Right. Right.
or that you gonna
Right.
fuck them or do some crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't got time for that dumb shit. So I
But
just
and the whole thing about this whole trans thing and this whole name part of trans and being labeled, as that, like, when we
and
were
I'm not
coming
and I
up.
ain't mentioning Malik. Malik is everybody's old client, bitch. I'm not mentioning nobody's clients on my thing unless that bitch paying me. That's a dirty client, bitch. You're not paying. You ain't paying.
Child.
They off my
I
line.
mean, yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't aware of. I've heard about. I wasn't aware of the F10. I know you do a lot of activist work with that. That's why I asked you. But another thing, like, for me, like, when I was when when we were young, when we were young, the young girls, um, this whole trans, like, the name, like,
That name ain't exist.
it didn't. So it was just like, you were even a man or woman.
Yeah, you was like,
And not only that, then back then, like, the gay men, like the BQs didn't like to be called girls, right? It's just like, so now
they used to get mad. They
everything.
ready to fight you when you
Yes, you would. Like, if you call them a girl, they will go the fuck off. But it's like,
all the way off, because it was
they will go, and it's like, bitch, I'm not no motherfucking girl.
because that was that whole no fats, no femmes, all that dumb shit. Used to go into
Yes.
their mind, because, like I was mentioning earlier on here about, we're talking about, sex being a sociological construct, whereas I'm sorry, sex being a biological construct and sex being a social one, and a lot of people just forget that there is within gender there is you have a mind and a body aspect, right? And it's like, you have what you assume is like genitals or your chromosomes, whatever, that's body,
Right.
and then there's the mind, which people, for science has shown, in utero you may get a wash of testosterone or in utero, and it causes changes that don't catch up to the genitalia changes, right? That happen.
Right.
So you got the
Right.
mind of a woman and the genitalia of what they assigned
Right.
you at birth, and then you like, well, bitch, what is that? What is going on? Like, I just, and speaking from me, like, I can remember back to being in kinder, like a kid, like a child, thinking I was a girl. Like,
Right.
It wasn't no question.
It
Like,
wasn't even, no, it wasn't even a thought. It was just, it was.
I just was who
It
I
was. Like,
That's why
it
my
was
parents
like,
didn't give a shit, because they knew I was always like,
yeah. So it was like, what, like, as a man thinking, so is he.
right.
So is he. But then it's this conversation can just go different ways, and I'm not gonna say it's confusing to me, but what makes it, like, kind of a joke why I really don't entertain it, and but I never really looked to the Malik Gilbert thing. It's because even like I said, growing up,
Oh, your phone went up. Oh, damn, her phone just died. Shawnee's, your phone just died. Shawnee's. Hold on, Shawnee's phone just died. Something happened. Shawnee's phone just died, I think. It just died. I was gonna talk about Shawnee's. Her phone went out. Yeah, one of the things that like has always been a big concern for me is that conflation between like gender identity and sexual orientation, and I think that that's one of the misconceptions and one of the problems that like kind of creates this narrative that because you like boys that you're supposed to dress up. Like what? So because you want to dress up and get boys, like that to me has always been scary. Because I just remember times like earlier in my transition where I would hang with a bunch of like boys, and they knew that boys used to like me, and they would have me. They would get the boys to come over and they would ask me to answer the door and shit like that. And I'd be like, okay. And the boys would be thinking it's me. And I'm like, oh, no, sweetie, it's not me. They in the bag. You know what I'm saying? And I would just be like, do people really like? Do you feel like the only way to get boys is to dress? I don't know. It's just scary. All that shit is scary to me. Hold on. I'm trying to add. Who is? Wait, who is this? I don't know. I just pressed the add button. Somebody had sent the request. I just added. Kid, you know exactly what I'm talking about, kid.
Hello.
Hey.
Um, so I think with the situation with Andre, I'm not very surprised that a homosexual man thinks the way he thinks. He comes from a time from I don't know if you remember the guy from Paris is Burning, the video that he said that he is in the military scene, that he did that fight scene with Candy. He's also a licensed psychologist and
I
he
know him.
feels very
I was on this.
he
I did scenes for them in
he
post. I
fe-
know.
he he feels very the same about the trans
Oh
community. He
yes,
feels that the trans
he's very rude to trans women. Oh, your internet,
praise
your
a lot of
internet.
people a lot of people praise
Right.
Hector Extravaganza. He's another one who felt that trans women are gay and that there is no other sexual orientation but them being gay, and the men that we engage in sexual encounters with are homosexual as well. I think there's a lack of education in the community. I think that there is a lack of understanding and wanting to understand, but this is not a fight to have with the gay men at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, there's a difference between a gay man and there's a difference between a faggot. And
And a difference between a trans woman, and it's not their fight. And why they even
you
controlling the
know,
narrative?
I don't know why we're entertaining, such nonsense. He has no facts and what he is saying, Andre. And all the years that there have been trans women going to the bathroom, and we've been going to the bathroom for many years. This is nothing new. There have been no incidents of children being molested, but it's so funny that there are countless cis men who are, child sex offenders, and homosexual men who are child sex offenders who have been picking up boys on Christopher Street since the age that they were 13, 14 years old. Um, and it's a sad notion that a lot of these gay men want to talk shit about, um issues like this, but they're the very ones that I see going to escuelitas. When I was pre-transition, paying $20 to get in the club without an ID, buying me drinks, getting me supplies to drugs and cocaine, and bringing me back home with a couple of the girls. And I don't mean the girls like how
Right, right, living in a house. They would be living in the girls' houses, sleeping on the girls' floors.
I
You know,
mean
like
like
oh,
I mean like I'm no no I mean like a whole butch queen bringing young underage males to their house to engage in homosexual activity. So if you really want to get technical, is it people like us that you are scared of? Or are you scared of yourself because you know that you're the sexual deviant of the community looking at young little boys because you're nasty and you're sick? You know what I'm saying? I'm so sick of having to parade around my feelings around gay men sometimes, you know, and being politically correct and nice. Girl, I'm so tired. I've been transitioning since I was 14, and I'm so done with the lack of education that these men, these gay men, have towards trans women. Sexual identity and sexual orientation are very different. Every trans woman identifies very differently. I know some who are lesbians, I know some who are bisexuals, I know some who are pansexuals. Just like, we are a variety of flavors.
Mm-hmm.
And we are so much more than what is between our legs.
Thank
I know trans women who are doctors. I know a trans woman who is in college right now getting her doctorate in psychology. You know what I'm saying? I know trans women of color who are making strides for this community at this moment, who are putting a notion on Latin and Caribbean and all types of women of color that I would have never saw in the past at all growing up. I didn't grow up looking and seeing people who looked like me.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it was trans women of color, like, like walking past Chi-Chi's and women like Jennifer Avisa who took an interest in someone like me walking down the street. And it's such a slap in the face to women like Jennifer and to Barbie Mizrahi and the women who invested time into this ballroom thing, women that you shared countless, you know, and it's a slap into the face to their memory. And you know what it tells me? Like I tell a lot of trans people, there's a difference between acceptance and somebody pleasing you. Someone will please you to your face and call you by your gender identity for the sake of not starting an argument or for not being an issue. Be very wise about the people you choose to have in your life because, like, say me and you, London. Say I'm a cis woman and you're a trans woman. I can't. There's women every day who date men in the same social circle. But have you ever noticed if you say that you're
They not gonna
as a
date them.
trans woman, they will not date them after if you admit it you dated them.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, I cannot be in a friendship with a person who has a double standard on how they view me.
Right.
You cannot be my friend if you are not my friend.
Right. Right. I
And
agree.
this is the thing with a lot of us. We need to distinguish the wolves and sheep's clothing that we have around us and keep this negative energy that we have surrounding us and surrounding our women of color, surrounding our trans men and our trans women, and keep these people out of our circumference because they are a hazard, they are a burden, and they are a issue to our mental health and well-being.
A damn trigger.
Yes, girl.
And
Whatchamacallit, it wasn't until I have a closet in my house that has a mirror.
mm-hmm.
And when I started my transition, I did not want gender reassignment surgery until I started looking at my body and looking at myself and looking at myself in total and just putting everything together. And I was just like, I'm not happy
right.
with what I'm looking at.
Right.
It just doesn't make sense to me. And that's not everybody's trans experience. But that is my experience at 29 years old, coming to the conclusion of my transition, looking at myself and there's nothing worse for a trans woman when you're in your four walls of your home
Ooh.
and you're thinking and I'm sorry.
Oh.
And the things that you like experience, looking at yourself as a person and think that this is my life and I deserve better.
Um.
And
Well, I want to thank you for your emotional labor because I know I see this as like definitely emotional for you, but I appreciate that and the authenticity because it somebody else also is gonna feels your story, and it's so authentic and
and
it's
there's
real.
people and there's people who have to like really grasp that, that how can I feel safe in an environment when I am attacked by my black men, by my Latin men, cis and cis and gay and lesbian alike, and heterosexual, and
I want to hug you.
you don't feel safe. And where can we feel safe? And where are the safe spaces for our brothers and sisters and for our trans women?
Right. And why is always how we identify and how we want to feel safe and comfortable and euphoric? Why does that always have to be up for ridicule by everybody else? Why does our
And
existence be constant ridicule?
yes, why does it bother people? Why does us breathing bother people? Why does it seem like that it is a problematic for people to for people to attack the men who love us and the ones who want to love us genuinely? You know what I'm saying? It is a problem. There's so much hate out here going around, and it's it's scary. In all my life of all my transition, I've never felt so unsafe the way I feel today. In New York City, as a Queens resident,
Wow.
unsafe. I don't feel safe at all. That I want to apply for a gun permit because I'm so scared.
Right. Right. You don't know if you're going to be
Because
somebody's.
because if I call the police tells me, did I provoke it?
You're not a victim. You're a suspect.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's this policing that people do to us, thinking that we walk around asking for this kind of
Yes.
this kind of like we attract this kind of energy towards people. But the thing is this, that you could be simply walking down the street minding your business. Somebody clocks you, see, oh, and that's a faggot, oh, that's a man, or and it's funny. I always notice among the trans women who are not as passable, they won't bother them as much. It's the ones who are a little bit maybe more passing and a little bit more beautiful and doll like, that there's this reality check that they want to bring to us, saying that, oh yeah, I know you a man, you ain't full of nobody,
Or
type shit.
get mad when because it's like there's this narrative that's put out there that when someone
We
speaks
go
to
around
you,
tricking people.
yeah, we trick people, and that we're supposed to instantly tell people what we are, and that's not true. Like, I don't feel
You
like I
know
should
that
be walking down the street and have to tell you that I'm trans. Like, if you say hello, or I don't need to tell you
the thing,
that.
do you know what I feel, London, is that there's a sense of entitlement I
Hmm.
think we have as minorities sometimes, to feel like we know things about people that have no relevance to our life. But people don't realize is that, okay, say I'm hanging out with London and people know that I'm trans in my neighborhood. If somebody asked me if London was trans, I'd be like, no, she's a woman, because that's not my place to disclose. Because one, if I were to disclose something that's medical in her life, her transition is something medical, I'm violating her HIPAA law.
So you think like
People don't realize I'm violating her medical information. That's not my place to disclose. My own information is my place to disclose in my life, because that is my transition and is mine to disclose alone, because it's my life.
right,
Her, on the other hand, I cannot disclose for London, because London is her own person. She is her own individual.
right, right. Yeah, because I mean that even goes with like when you're hanging with cisgender women and
Me alone. But this is
right,
the thing, is that people always want to speak on the behalf of other people. And I notice a lot of gay men do it, and a lot of cis women do it for trans
right,
people.
right,
And that's not fair, because you never know what kind of altercation or situation you're going to put that person in.
right,
And we are
right,
entitled to
right,
we
right,
are we are entitled to live our trans experience to the most authentic way possible. And remember, there is no map or no book for this shit. Everybody's
no,
experience is different. Everybody's journey is different. Some may want to live stealth. Some people may want to live in the open. Some may want to be trans empowerment and beauty and social media. But everybody takes their journey different ways. There's no right way to live your life. But if you feel like
right.
stealth is for you, then by all means do it that way. Most people
Listen,
don't want to
some
live
girls want to keep their
in that
some
life.
girls want to keep their penis and use it and have sex with it
Exactly.
and That's what they choose. I mean, it's like you. It's like who are me to judge? Like like it's like at the end of the day, why are people so concerned about things that happen inside of the closed doors? They don't happen outside. Like it's and
what you do in the bedroom doesn't define your
right.
sexual orientation. I feel like it is the visual of what your partner looks like.
Oh, your phone does it right. It's like your
Oh,
phone.
I feel like what you do in your life is what you do with the partner and what they look like defines your sexual nature. Like I remember somebody telling me, "Oh, why would a femme lesbian let an aggressive lesbian have sex with her with a dildo?" And I'd be like, "It's when she could just have a man." I'd be like, "Well, it's not real.
Damn, it's cutting.
It's not really the thought of a man penetrating. It's the physical action of that person giving you pleasure that you're sexually attracted to. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Physicality is very important in having a sexual connection with somebody. And, when a man, I could just imagine, London, because you're a very beautiful woman. When you walk down the street, honey, you turn heads, Miss Thing.
Thank you.
Honey, you
Thank
got face
you.
for the God. So I think, and
Oh,
you, Miss Thing, you wash face, and it's 1:33 a.m. in the morning, and you still looking purged. So come
oh,
on, come
thank
through.
you. Thank you.
So so I know
That's
they
what I
must
was just
that
saying.
you're a beauty. So I could
Thank
just
you.
imagine. Look at this
As are
woman when
you.
she walks on the street.
Damn. Damn it. Oh, Desiree, can you hear me? Damn. Wait, Desiree, do you have Wi-Fi?
Yeah, I'm on Wi-Fi.
Cause it's cut. It's every time you talk and it's doing the robot. It's like cutting out.
Oh, let me come back. I'm gonna let somebody else come in your live so
Okay.
they could speak their piece. And thank you for having me.
You welcome. I appreciate you for the emotional labor. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Love
so
you.
much.
Hey y'all. Okay. Do I look 70? Kia, you would pray that I look 70. Kia, bitch, you would pray to God that I look 70, bitch. You would pray to God. Hey Roderick, are you on here, Roderick? I just seen Roderick's name. Let me see. I see Roderick's name on here. Okay. I'm scared to add people because some of these people names I don't know and I'm afraid to add them. Like people sending requests and I don't got time for the to no crazy shit. And I'll be ready to give a tag lady. Hold on. Oh, I do not want Teddy, if you don't sit your ass down, I don't want to have to give a tag woman. Oh, I don't want to give a tag lady. Mind you, it's so late. I was trying to have fun this evening. Yes, thank you so much. Kia, do you want to get back on and talk for 1 second? Like in the word, do you feel like a woman? Feel like a woman.
Why are you adding me?
You have
Why?
no earpiece, I guess.
Why are you adding me?
Nothing is starting to good, bitch.
That's all that voodoo she do.
This bitch gonna tell me yesterday I do voodoo looking young. I told her the trade out without the dick.
That's all that
No,
voodoo.
I told the trade. No, listen. I told the trade. I said I bottle and people you. And guess what this dumb bitch gonna say to me on live? The one right here, Karma Swan.
What?
How you do that? Hey, Elijah.
Go to sleep. You gotta work in the morning.
Uh, I'm actually going to work.
You need to go to sleep. This
I'm
live.
going to a Maxine Waters and
Really. Tell Maxine Waters.
and I'm wearing a listen. And I'm wearing a Versace board.
Oh, okay. Tell Maxine Waters I need her to fight to bring my Instagram back.
Go watch.
I need Lisa Bloom to fight.
You said what?
I need Lisa Bloom to fight for my Instagram.
Oh my God. Please. Hey, Felicity, you want to join? I'm going to tell you how to get the earpiece.
Okay, go ahead. Let her on in.
Girl, Mumu. Oh my God. Whose name is Mumu? Wait. Why y'all sneak this and y'all get sneak this better saying, who is what? Who is that? What are you talking? Who is that? What are you, wait, what? What? I'm confused. I just got scared. You want to get on Felicity? I cannot. What about Soraya? Wait, Soraya, you want to get on here? I cannot. Girl, look at my auntie Shamari Terry. I see you on here, but I cannot. This thing is crazy. It don't let you add people. Like when you click it, the way Facebook is set up, girl, y'all, the way Facebook is set up now, honey. Oh, somebody got scared when I said I was gonna add them. Okay, hold on. Miss Karma, you better stop talking about me fixing my echoes. Miss Tiffany was gonna whip your ass when she saw you wrote her name in them comments. Cause she texted me first thing in the morning and said, okay, she went off completely. She said, why has she got my name in her mouth? I said, girl, she was just, playing. She was just joking. Okay, so let's say she don't want to do it. Girl, I said, oh, you was playing, honey. So right, I can't. Who is this person, Moo? Why? What? I don't know what it is. Did somebody want to get added? I'm not. Hey, nephew. Oh, wait. Let me add Vinny Margello. Nephew. Oh, yeah, but she nervous. Looking, honestly, I don't know what he gonna do. He don't have no earpiece at all. I know he don't have an earpiece on. I know he don't have an earpiece on. Vinny, you see your aunt adding you, and you playing with it. Period. You know that's right. Wait, girl, Teddy needs his film queen so he can sleep. Girl, look, Teddy is right here. Girl, he been scratching on the couch and everything. When I say he got agitated when I've been on this live, Teddy has been crying the whole time I've been on the live. Y'all couldn't hear him, but I could. It was driving me insane. Nephew, so you're not gonna let me add you? Okay, I see what you're doing. Okay, work. It's nighttime. Everybody. At nighttime the people don't be camera ready. Like I was just gonna do one more person because we've had a very eventful night. We've talked about so much stuff, and we went from having like 400 something viewers to like now to nobody. But I am appreciative and grateful for people that got on and decided that they wanted to listen, engage. I know there were a lot of comments that were going across, and people were getting triggered, but that's the story of life. Hey, for Rosa, that's the story of life. That's how I go. I tried to add you, and you would not want me to add you. I clicked add, and you weren't accepting my ad. It's like an ad for Rosa. It's like it's saying that I'm adding you all, and when I click the ad, you don't have your earpiece on. Everybody has an iPhone. If I add you, you gotta have an earpiece. Wait, you got an earpiece. You don't have an earpiece. I can't add it. Oh my God. Find it for Rosa. Find it and come back on. Oh my God. Tap, how many do you have on your earpiece? Okay, hold on. Hold on, Tap. Tell me you got an earpiece on. Tap, hold on. I'm adding you now. Tell me you got it. Please say you got an earpiece on. I pray you have an earpiece on. Hello. Hold on, wait. Here we go. I'm so sick of that. You know I know. There go echo. What is it with everybody? I don't Hold on real quick. Girl, Miss Kanaya. Girl, you got an earpiece on, Miss Kanaya? No. I don't have obviously I don't have one no I don't need to have one. It's the person that gets on the live that has to have the earpiece on, not me. Kanaya, are you camera she didn't come on. Oh, the girls ain't camera ready. You supposed to be my daughter, sweetie. You supposed to always be camera ready, sweetie. Always on it and ready. At all times, all hours of the night. Period. Period. Soraya. Let me see. Soraya. Oh, work. There we go. Please say you got your earpiece on, sis. Come on. Please say you got your earpiece on. You got your earpiece on.
Yeah.
It's echo.
No.
Mine is. It's
Oh,
echo.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Is it plugged in?
Yes.
Why am I echoing? Okay, go ahead.
So, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not in the ballroom scene, nothing like that. So, but I mean, I've been around, and for Andre to say something like that, that's kind of problematic. Because at the end of the day, like when we see these people that we somehow have looked up to, and they're supposed to be our allies, like, and for him to turn around and say stuff like that, like it's just like that gives other people that don't know about us space to come in and do the same thing and talk about us
Mm-hmm.
and berate us and say, oh, even the gays think that they men, you know what I'm saying, or what have you. So it's very problematic for him to come and say like that. And everybody has a right to their opinion and has a right to speak whatever their opinion is. But when so much is going on, it's damaging. There are people that are literally being killed for being who they are, for just living their truth or trying to live their truth. And at the end of the day, if we don't have acceptance from the people that from the people that labor among us that are
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be laboring among us, then that's a problem. That's a problem. And for him to come out and say something like that, it's just I find it very shocking, you know. But he's not the only person that believes that way. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But for him to be in a role of leadership as he is, then I think that he should elevate his thinking. You know, again, I don't know him personally. I've met him a couple of times, but not knowing him personally, not having a relationship with him or having the experience to be around him as much, you know, maybe no one taught him that, or that's just the way that he feels. You know what I'm saying? He's an older gentleman, and at the end of the day, if that's the way he feels now, that's the way he's always felt. But that's a problem, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. So, like, what do you think the solution is, or the next steps in this? Like,
Okay. Um, I don't know. Again, I don't. I think that he should be called on his shit, and that's anybody. Like at the end of the day, now you don't have to always have to come to somebody combative to confront them about a situation, but
mm-hmm.
I think that he needs to be called out on it for people, and more so for people that know him on a personal level and go to him and Andre, that's not helping the situation.
Darling,
Not
they've already called. Well, they already didn't call on. They already hashtag counsel and all that. You know how the people did. They didn't put a
mm,
hashtag counsel him and all that kind of stuff. Which is like that whole thing about counseling people be like, I don't like to get into all that. Like,
yeah.
but they be wanting to counsel any. Because I'm just a person who, a person who has studied the law, understands the law. I just believe, like, and am, I believe in the Constitution and like what it stands for, and I just try to and how it, and whether it's interpreted differently. But I just believe that like we should, I mean, and freedom of speech and like people being able to express. I mean, that's what differentiates us between a lot of is like the ability to express our opinion. I want to be able to express my opinion with the hopes that you know what I'm saying? Hopes that either you're going to learn from my opinion, because somewhere in between the middle of the intersection of this disagreement is some kind of neutrality that we can step on together.
Right.
Something.
Right.
And in that little space is some kind of, I would hope if we could just add a placemat of empathy, right? That we could just kind of sit there and empathize with each other. I would be like happy. But
I mean, but at the end of the day, you also have to take in consideration. I don't think that any opinions that you put out are damaging to other people. You're not going around saying, "Oh, gay men do this or that," and which causes them to be killed. Like, we already have a problem within our community with us not getting along with one another. And again, I've even said, like, these last couple of nights that I've seen and been on your live and just really paying attention to it have it's causing me to kind of evolve in my thinking and my path and the way that I even want to relate to myself. You know what I'm saying? So it's I think it's a good thing. I think that you need to continue to do stuff like this because, can you hear me?
oh yeah, you perfectly.
Okay. So just continue to do stuff like that because it's like it's empowering and uplifting, you know what I'm saying? So I really appreciate you as a person. I appreciate the work that you put in. I know you said that you were getting tired and stuff like that. And I can definitely understand that, but it's so just like it's breathtaking and also life-giving, the stuff that you say and do.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I take that. I don't know how to take compliments. I accept it. My friend told me to learn how to accept compliments. Compliments always have made me scared, so I accept it.
Right, right.
I just want to see that all this rhetoric and all this talk. I just want to see it into actionable things. And obviously, like I always say, there's so many other issues under the sink that got to be fixed before, we can really turn leaky before we can turn the faucet off, right? Because it's still
Right.
leaking. Shit is still leaking, and we got to deal with all these social determinants of health. We got to deal with like these systematic barriers. We got to deal with understanding these intersectionalities between like race, gender, poverty, like understanding it, and also understanding like there's solidarity across movements. And the sad part about it is like a lot of cisgender women will be quick to throw you under the bus, but the trans girls are the main ones who, if their boyfriend fuck with them, be ready to go outside and fight, fuck his ass up, and do all this stuff. But they won't do the same when it comes to us, when it protected our
Yep.
identities. I mean, going outside, that's protecting me.
Exactly.
I don't have to tell everybody what the fuck I am.
Yes.
Like you so fit, girl. You know what that is, right? You know that's you ain't know. Girl, you ain't know what that was.
Yep.
That stuff is too much, and that's just too much. You don't have to do
Yeah.
that.
And that's why it's like, at the end of the day, like, I appreciated Angelica Ross when she was on the OWN special the other night, and she was telling, like, girl, we are not y'all enemy. We are your allies, girl. We are your sisters. Like, at the end of the day, I feel like that. And it's even in my own experience with my cousins and my sisters and stuff like that. Like, bitch, no, you not supposed to call me by my boy name. Or you not supposed to refer to me
Your
as
real name.
he. Bitch, I will beat you up. And I'm my mother's child, and y'all know how my mama is.
Okay, you guys. Let me tell you something.
Don't.
That dumb shit. I will never. What really like made it evident for me was like when my grandmother like got this woman together. Oh, bitch. My grandmother slayed her bitch. God rest her soul. I miss my grandmother. My grandmother slayed her bitch. She said that's not her name. Does she look like that's her name? Call her what she saw. She went in.